Today in Kansas City, the two teams with the best record of the Western Conference, the Kings and Seattle SuperSonics, are all set for a showdown. The Sonics, a surprise team last season, had the second best red record in the NBA. The Kings, a surprise team in the NBA this season, have won 14 in a row at home. Something's got to give.
The NBA on CBS. Today's show is sponsored by Holiday Inn, who welcomes you to its people-pleasing hotels. The Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by Chevrolet and Chevrolet dealers coast to coast.
Welcome to Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri, the home of the Kansas City Kings, who play host to the Seattle SuperSonics. The third meeting of the year between these two. They've split the two previous meetings. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Bender, and alongside me, the coach of the Sonics, Lenny Wilkins. Lenny, you're the best defensive team in the NBA, but these Kings are averaging 121 points a game the last 14 outings.
Well, they've been playing extremely well. Cotton's gotten them to push the ball up the court. They have a fine young player in Phil Ford who's really, been penetrating and hitting the free man with the ball. Plus, we've got to come down and try and contain that today and, really get back and playing with some intensity and rely on our defense to cause them to make some mistakes.
All right, let's join Steve Jones now. He's with Coach Cotton Fitzsimmons.
Thank you, Gary. Cotton, you've been here since 8 o'clock this morning. You got any surprises for Lenny Wilkins, Seattle SuperSonics?
No surprises. It's late in the season. Both ball clubs, I think, will try to play their game and control the tempo the way they see fit.
How important is today's game? Do you think it's going to matter in the playoffs?
Not really, but anytime you play the division-leading team in the West, you'd certainly like to win the ball game, especially on your home court.
Okay, thank you very much, Cotton.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right, thank you, Steve Jones. We're ready to go now. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for this game. For Seattle, Sikma in the middle with Johnson and Shelton at the forwards. Williams and Johnson in the backcourt. Wedman, Robinzine, Lacey, Birdsong, and Ford. As we mentioned, the Kings have won 14 in a row here at home. They have won 11 of their last 14. They are playing good basketball. And there's the officials for today. John Bannock, Hugh Evans, and Bill Oakes in control of this game, as today they come in with over 10,000 people here in Kemper Arena, as it will be the 18th time they've gone over 10,000 this year. They are packing them in. They're excited about this Kansas City Kings team. Seattle, on the other hand, well, they're 14-14 on the road, despite the fact that earlier this year they lost 5 games in a row on the road. So they have played well, and I think it's interesting, Steve, a good defensive team sometimes do fare well on the road.
Well, certainly the thing that they say about defense is if you can keep it consistent and every night out, then you have an excellent chance of winning every night out. Of course, your offense is up and down, but again, it's offense that generally wins basketball games.
All right, we're ready to go. Sam Lacey, number 44, at 6'10", will go up against Sikma, number 43. He's at 6'11". The ball is in the air, and Wedman with the rebound. And what a career this guy is putting together in one season. He's been averaging over 20 points the last 15 games. Sam Lacey outside to Wedman. Wedman shooting close to 60% the last 14 games. Sikma tries to bring it away. Who's got it? And coming up with it is Robinzine, and a foul as Robinzine tried to put it back up. The foul on Shelton, and that's what Robinzine does so well.
Robinzine has the ability to stay down and deep and stay out to the ball. Right here, he's just chasing it down. He's finally going to get his hands on it. He's just going to carry it back up. Unfortunately for him on Friday night, he didn't get too much playing time, but he's a strong forward, very active, will hustle for you a great deal.
That percentage you see field goal-wise is the best on this team. Bill Robinzine, he got a new lease on life when Richard Washington got hurt before the season got underway. He's been in the starting lineup, Steve. They're going to have a tough time getting him out of there.
Well, he lost a lot of weight, and that's probably the biggest lease on life he got. He got a chance to run up and down that court, and that helps him a lot.
Kings on top 2-0. Dennis Johnson. He's against Otis Armstrong. It'll be Ford against Gus Williams. Some excellent matchups in the backcourt in the day's game. Inside, broken up. Here comes Otis Birdsong. Birdsong had 31 points in a win over Phoenix Friday night. He has been red hot. 4-0. Kansas City off and moving. Dennis Johnson, who will try to slow down some of that output in that guard spot. He's going to have his hands full. Johnson inside. And we have a foul on Lacey reaching in. And since the injury to Tom Burleson, they have to watch Lacey in the foul difficulty.
Well, certainly they do. Lacey is a man that's going to be in a lot of time right here. He's trying to give help. Johnson makes an excellent move on the baseline to get free. Then he goes back up for the rebound, and Johnson comes over. Lacey comes over the top.
Lacey with the first foul. Here's Johnson outside. Rebound, Wedman. And you can see the Kings. They like to push the ball up the floor as much as they can. There was a little indecision, and Williams comes away with it. Gus Williams, leading scorer on this team. Johnny Johnson trying to follow, and he got it, and he's fouled by Robinzine. The basket will count. So twice inside now, the Kings have picked up some fouls.
Well, the thing that you can't have is second effort, and the Seattle SuperSonics are an excellent rebounding team, and they get a chance to go to the board. You'll see Johnson comes back inside off that miss, all kinds of hands right inside, slapping for the ball. Robinzine over the top. Johnson gets a three-point play.
So Johnson now with 3 points. 4-3, Kansas City, by 1. Bill Ford, he looks like a shoo-in for the Rookie of the Year. What a job he's been doing, particularly in the assist department. He had 22 and 21 the last 2 times out, and he can shoot the ball.
Well, he had an excellent night again on Friday night. He got him off to a real good start. What they try to do with him is get the ball up and down the court as quickly as they can and get the quick opportunity shots.
Dennis Johnson missing. You see Lacey. I think Cotton Fitzsimmons said it best about Lacey. He just does what it takes to win.
Well, he's been losing for so long, he's got to take one to win.
Here's Ford after Robinzine. Otis Birdsong, and 3-second violation coming up against Kansas City. And Seattle will take it out. That's the second turnover against the Kings. Kansas City is the type of team, but boy, they can just blow you out in a hurry. The way they can push the ball up the floor and they can score points in a bunch.
Well, they have a lot of people that can put the ball in the hole, which is very important. You know, they try to run as much as they can. They have a turnover, but they got this guy right here who can score as well as anybody.
He is something. Otis Birdsong has 4 points. 6-3 Kansas City. Birdsong in the All-Star game this year, and he is a certified NBA All-Star. He's going to have a long career.
He's just got great offensive skills. The most important and impressive thing about him is he's always under control.
There you see Ford. Look at that effort by Ford. He disappears in the Seattle bench. Lonnie Shelton, they can't get him to drop, and Robinzine comes away with a rebound. Look at Ford. Push the ball, always forcing the issue. Here's Lacey. Tough shot and a foul coming up. Lacey wheeling in. There he is, 9th year in the league, and this guy, well, he's just happy to be winning.
Well, this is the difference between winners and losers. You'll see Lacey comes across here now, makes this move right here. There's no contact. But he's on the free throw line.
And that foul, whether it was contact or not, goes against Lonnie Shelton and his second. Sam Lacey out of New Mexico State at 6'10". He's shooting 75%, as you can see from the line. He is an excellent passer. Cotton feels that Bill Walton is out now, that Lacey's the best passing center in the league.
Sam is very active underneath. He's very unselfish. He moves the ball and moves himself. The biggest knock against him has been his temper. He's been the type of player that gets upset and consequently takes himself out of the ball game quite easily.
He was upset last year, wasn't he, a lot?
It was a great deal, and that hurt him a great deal. He didn't play that much.
There's Lacey again with another board. He brings it out to Ford. Ford off to Otis Birdsong. Boy, I'll tell you, Birdsong's a new man with Ford playing alongside him.
Well, he was going to be a great player. It just makes it a lot easier for him to make that adjustment. He doesn't have to handle the ball that much. He just runs and spots up. Lenny Wilkins wanted a timeout, and now they're going to get it.
The Lenny Wilkins crew has dropped behind by 7 points here in the early going, 10-3. Birdsong has 6 of those points. All 3 of the points thus far have been scored by Johnny Johnson for Seattle. So Seattle, right now, not controlling the tempo of this game like they would like. 8:52 to go, first period.
Welcome to our people-pleasing places.
You're confirmed in Chicago and St. Louis, and you're going to love the ending.
Meet our people-pleasing places.
Holiday Inn hotels are #1 in the world, with the best locations near where you want to be.
I can walk.
The most popular choice of locations.
Wherever you go in this whole big traveling world.
We want to make you comfortable.
Holiday Inn is #1 people-pleasing.
For days you fought the mountain for a 90-ton slab of granite. And now you hold your breath while you bring it out until it swings free and clear. Now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find, Miller High Life.
When it's time to relax, one beer stands clear, Miller Beer.
This is it.
This is it, America, the new Chevrolet.
America, if you're looking for a full-size car that goes easy on the gas.
This is it.
And easy on the road.
This is it.
A car with all kinds of room inside.
This is it.
The new Chevrolet, a new generation car bought and embraced by more than 1 million people in its first 2 years. Caprice and Impala for 1979.
This is it, America, the new Chevrolet.
Well, Seattle not liking the way things are going here in the early going, and Steve, Lenny Wilkins, who always seems to have control of his ball club, just whistled the timeout. He wanted to talk things over.
Well, the important thing when you're the visitor is not to get down by a bunch and let the home team get the good roll going like Kansas City did on Friday night. They work a play right here and they get it down and deep. They score, they get themselves under control, they make Kansas City play some defense, and that's important.
The old back door, and it's 10-5, a 5-point lead for Kansas City. Phil Ford, that good penetration he always makes. Here's Lacey, and he's going to take it in. Sikma intimidated him in a foul coming up, and I believe it's Otis Birdsong. Birdsong picking it up, trying to reach in. Loose ball foul. They'll take it out of bounds. Dennis Johnson will trigger it.
A timeout seems to be the quieting and calming factor out there, and they always seem to come back and play pretty good defense and generally get a score after the timeout has been called.
Well, Lenny Wilkins really, with his poise and his confidence, seems to rub off on his team. That's going to be Kansas City's basketball. Third turnover in the game now against Seattle. You know, you talk about Phil Ford, he's a catalyst, but he played one game and they knew he was going to be a superstar in this league. He just is remarkable.
Well, you know, he led North Carolina the 4 years he was down there. He came in freshman year and he took over control there, and it's his freshman year in the pros here, and he's assumed control also. He's a cocky little guy, very confident. He feels he can play. You know, he didn't want to come here.
I know he didn't.
They didn't have winning tradition for him.
But he built one. Gus Williams not getting to go, and here comes number 1 again, Phil Ford. Second pick in the NBA draft this year, Scott Wedman. And they're having a tough time getting that ball to drop, and Johnny Johnson, the veteran, out of the University of Iowa, brings it out now to Dennis Johnson. Dennis Johnson with a move. Boy, there's a guy, he's known for his defense, but don't forget his offense.
Probably one of the best, I think. He and Lionel Hollins are probably the best all-round guards in the league. He's in somewhat of a shooting slump. He's going to have his hands full with that man right there. Birdsong is just a tremendous offensive player.
That's going to be Johnson picking up the foul. Let's go back and pick the particular play up.
Well, you see the ball's outside with Lacey handling. He gets plenty of room and not much pressure on the passer. We don't get a real good view right there, but he beat him to the spot. That's what got Dennis Johnson in trouble.
Third team foul now against Seattle, and here's Otis Birdsong. Birdsong coming in here now is leading this team with an average of 21.7. He's averaged 27 points the last 14 games. And he had 31 on Friday night against Phoenix, and he was just unbelievable. There's Cotton Fitzsimmons. At halftime, we'll have a feature. Don Crickey will visit with the coach of the Kings. Gus Williams, rebound Robinzine, and Robinzine, oh, what a basketball change in his life this year. Here is Phil Ford. There's Ford. You just give him anything, and he'll take it.
Well, certainly you can't let a player of his ability penetrate and open that lane like that. Anytime he gets down in that deep, he's going to create something, and it's going to turn out to be positive. They get a basket. Seattle looks for a score, and they almost turn it over.
Look at the hustle. Isn't that indicative of this club?
It's changed. A year ago, you couldn't get these Kings to dive for loose balls, go out of bounds. All the fans now in the front row seats here, they're taking dives back there themselves, trying to get out of the way.
You sit in the front row, you got to be awake here. You're going to be in trouble. Lonnie, Shelton, Robinzine on him, the two power forwards, and a foul coming up. Robinzine pushing off, I believe. He tried to reach in on him. That's that no hand checking that they've instituted this year, and there's a good example. They're not letting him get away with it.
Well, that's the thing. You know, one of the problems for Robinzine that he does put his hands on players a lot. He plays a little bit out of control, and that he's very aggressive, and that hurts him.
Sikma with his first 2 points. Lacey outside. He loves to use the glass. He is one of the best shooters to use the glass in the NBA. Here's Gus Williams in trouble. And we're going to have a foul. It's either Ford or Wedman. They're looking at both of them. They both reached in. This crowd of over 10,000 didn't like it. That foul is on Phil Ford. And that now is 5, so the penalty in effect. Gus Williams at the line. 3 to make 2. You know, Gus Williams has come on. He's averaging 8. He has in the last 19 games averaged about 22 points a game.
Well, Gus is just a tremendous offensive player and really excellent when he can get out quickly, get down, and get the quick opportunity shot. Tremendous foot speed and quickness, and he's just a real good athlete. Makes tough shots.
4 points for Gus Williams. Otis Birdsong, a little too much arch. Look at that outlet by Sikma. Gus Williams forcing it, and he can't get it. Johnny Johnson, and he's out of bounds. But if you don't think these two teams aren't going after it, they are really playing with intensity.
Well, that was real good individual effort by Johnny Johnson just to keep the ball alive and try to keep control. We get a steal here.
This is a repeat of the other one. Williams down the field. And Gus Williams able to lay it in. And now it's 15-13.
Gary, that's going to be one of the problems that Phil Ford is going to have Friday night. He was playing against Paul Westfall, who doesn't have the same kind of quickness and foot speed that Gus Williams does. And Williams can steal that ball.
Otis Birdsong. Birdsong already with 9 points in this game. 17-13 Kansas City. That'll be a charging on Dennis Johnson. I don't think Johnson exactly agreed with that, but Otis had position.
Well, surprise, surprise. I mean, Dennis Johnson really didn't think Birdsong would play that kind of defense, but he was there. He had the position.
Bill Ford reaching in. He's forced that one. And out they come, but this time Birdsong is back. Well, they got away with it twice, but this time the Kings got back.
Well, Johnny Johnson's pass was just a little errant, but Gus Williams was there.
That basket by Lacey will count. He has 6 points. He'll go to the line after the foul. Sikma picking up the personal foul. That is his first.
Sam Lacey
4 team fouls.
Sam Lacey's not normally a scorer, and coaches hate to see guys that really don't put the ball up a lot get off the mark, because then they're looking for the hoop all night long. He can score. He normally is a passer and the hub of the offense when they set up. Fred Brown comes in the basketball game, and we'll see Seattle's complexion change just a little bit.
Lenny Wilkins looking on. Fred Brown, instant offense. Now coming into the lineup for the Sonics. Lacey now with a chance for a three-point play with 6 points. Sam Lacey last year was a little upset. They brought in Tom Burleson. They felt like they didn't have confidence in him. So Lacey comes in with a new attitude. He wins the job. Burleson was an excellent backup for him, but they lost him a week ago in Philadelphia. And look at Lonnie Shelton. Oh,
that's a tremendous drive by Lonnie Shelton.
Get out of the way when he goes in. Ford off to Lacey. Lacey getting those open shots. And again, using the glass.
He goes to the glass, but there's no pressure on him. And I said earlier, you don't want to let Sam Lacey get involved in that offense, because he'll be there all afternoon.
Sam Lacey coming in here is averaging just under 10 points a game, and he already has 9. Shelton, Robinzine charging.
Offensive foul for Shelton.
Well, back to that drive by Shelton.
Shelton got away with it one time. You'll see authority on this one. He just blew by Robinzine that time and got that big stuff right there. He tried it again going baseline, drove right over him. Kansas City has the ball, bringing it up.
Change. Robinzine is checked out. Darnell Hillman replaces him. Ford all the way. You just can't let him go in like that. He'll take it.
Well, you notice the difference. Fred Brown does not have the quickness that Gus Williams does, and he just blew by Fred.
24-15. Kansas City on top, and some pushing inside. Dennis Johnson hitting the deck. Foul is going to go against Birdsong, and that will be his second. You know, the Kings Friday night jumped out early against Phoenix. Then Phoenix started chipping away at him, kept coming back.
You know, in the Friday night's game, it was more like a hot water offense, and Kansas City really could turn it on anytime they wanted. They seemed to have complete control. They had the running game down, and they had their offensive execution down well. Anytime you can get 40, 30 points in a quarter as easily as they did, you know that you're playing good offensive basketball. Seattle, on the other hand, is the type of team that makes you seem as though you're running, creating a lot of opportunities for you. They get you out of the tempo of your basketball game, and then all of a sudden they apply the defensive pressure, and you're down to 15, 16 points in the quarter.
Hillman coming away with the rebound. Boy, he's been a fine acquisition for this team. There's Ford, and that's going to be Seattle's basketball. But every time Ford comes down, you can't turn your back on him. You've got to look inside, because he's going to penetrate.
Well, the thing is, the guy who is ever guarding Phil Ford has got to put pressure out on him high and make him work real hard to get down in deep. Don't try and gamble out high, because he can go right by you.
Paul Silas now is checked into the Seattle lineup with the forward spot, the veteran. On the side, Freddie Brown. And Brown will hit that shot all afternoon long.
Yes, sir, and he'll have plenty to say after he's made it, too.
Probably the most celebrated sixth man now in the NBA. And he comes in and he can score him in a bunch. Here's Hillman. Silas on him. Birdsong. You can see the good defense by Johnson. Phil Ford going back. That ball was touched by Seattle, so they can bring it back up. They have 4 seconds on the shot clock. Ford with 2 seconds. Silas. Boy, he's had a few rebounds in his career. Silas in his 15th year in the NBA. 1,150 games in his career. Fred Brown. Here comes Wedman. Wedman off to Ford. Birdsong, a little trouble there in a passing lane. Rebound Sikma again. The intensity is something. And Johnson with an easy 2. Dennis Johnson, who was 3rd in the balloting for the MVP in the All-Star game, puts to 2, and it's a 4-point game with 3:18 to go in this first period, as Kansas City has some of that lead whittled away.
Yep, that's bad dandruff, all right.
And I've tried everything.
I recommend Denorex shampoo. It's strong medicine. Look, a medical report proves Denorex helps relieve itching and scaling of a scalp problem even worse than dandruff.
So Denorex should work for me. Wow, it tingles.
That's an extra relief medicine no leading shampoo has.
That's a great dandruff shampoo.
And gentle to your hair. Denorex, strong medicine for dandruff.
Attention Track 2 users, attention Atra users. Get ready for really clean shaving. Introducing Ultrex from Schick Super 2. The only twin blades with 1 push cleaning. Watch. 1 push pushes out soap and stubble for a clean start on really close shaves. Look, Ultrex slides on Track 2 razors, clicks on Atra razors. Get new Ultrex with 1 push cleaning. Only Schick Super 2 Ultrex has 1 push cleaning.
Introducing Hertz takeoff rates. Save up to 35% on the average weekday rental when you take off Thursday through Sunday for a minimum of 2 to 3 days. Take off in a subcompact for only $13.95 a day. Fairmont's $15.95. Granada $17.95. Thunderbirds $21.95 a day. All with no charge for mileage. There are some restrictions, so check with Hertz. Take off next weekend with Hertz low takeoff rates.
It's interesting to me, the parallels between these two teams. We come back at the 3:18 mark. Two teams that really last year, Seattle was a surprise. This year, Kansas City. Both these teams with new coaches that have just turned the situation around, and good team play by both clubs.
The thing that's so similar about it is that the coaches came in and they did the job of telling the teams that they played as a team, did the things that were right, they would win. Both teams have done that. Both teams have played excellent basketball since these coaches have come in and taken over.
Pressure now by Seattle. Kansas City with a 4-point lead as we approach the 3-minute mark of this first period. Ford, Birdsong. Boy, that may be as talented a pair in the backcourt as there is in the NBA. Darnell, Hillman, the man they picked up from the Denver Nuggets, and they're glad they have him.
Well, Hillman has excellent inside games. He has a tendency not to like it in there, but he can really score well inside, and when he's down and deep, he can be real tough.
There's a veteran Brown taking the rookie Ford inside, and he gets it to drop for him. What touch Fred Brown had.
I used to call that luck. When you get to the NBA, it's touch, and Ford comes right back with one.
They take them any way they could go in, right? 28-22. Dennis Johnson picked up by Birdsong. Johnson to Silas. Silas is settling influence on this team. Second only to John Havlicek in games played in the career of an NBA. And here is Sikma. Rebound Silas. Always seems to have position, and Hillman has fouled him. That is what Silas is so good at doing, is getting inside, boxing up.
Well, once the premier offensive rebounder before the arrival of Moses Malone, Silas always gets himself down in deep position himself, trying to get the ball back up to the hoop. And the thing that's most important is he must be boxed. And if you give him just a little bit of daylight, he's going to go for the ball, and he generally gets it. That time it looked like he got it blocked, but there was a little bit of contact on the body. He goes to the line. He gets his first one.
He does not shoot all that well from the line, as you can see, 60%. Silas with 10,000 points and 10,000 rebounds in his career. And there's a foul on Johnson. Wait a minute, we have conflicting reports. One official called it charging, the other a foul on Johnson.
Well, they're calling a double foul now. You're going to jump it up right here at midcourt.
And the scorer's bench wants to know, hey, what's happening here? That's what it's going to be, the double foul. Ford has picked up his second. Now Lenny Wilkins is checking. There's Cotton Fitzsimmons, John Vanek over there, the crew chief.
He never blew the damn whistle.
They're going to find out what's going on here. The life of a referee in the NBA.
That's when you find out that there are 10 guys out there legislating, the two coaches on the sidelines. They both shaking their heads saying, boy, this is real tough. You guys got to get together out there. Johnson was there, you know, Gary, you talked about it earlier. Ford sometimes does come up to Ford rather quickly, a little bit out of control. Johnson seemed to be planted and set to me, and he got the call, and then the other official said no. Kansas City gets the tip.
That's 3 fouls on Johnson, 2 on Ford. Birdsong is fouled. Birdsong fouled as he moved inside, so Dennis Johnson a little foul difficulty here in the early going. We still have 2:09 to go in this first period. Johnny Johnson that time picking up his first.
We are having some technical problems with that tape machine, so we can't get another look at some of these controversial calls, but Birdsong made a real sweet move inside. He's just a real tough offensive player. The best thing you could do is try not to let him get the basketball in good operating range. Today he's come out with his nose on the basket. He's got 10 already. He's going to be tough.
Another penalty, and he'll have another one coming. The interesting thing about Kansas City, Steve, is they're the only club in the NBA that has all #1 draft picks starting that they selected themselves.
They didn't want to tell that a year ago, but now that they're winning, they've got a lot of information that comes out. They have 6 #1s on this team with Richard Washington, who has been injured and not playing. They have built their team through the draft. We'll say it like they do in football. They did it through the draft. Watch out, Kansas City.
Gus Williams is checked back in. It's Brown and Williams in the backcourt. Silas, Johnny Johnson, and Jack Sikma, another foul. A lot of fouls in this game. Darnell Hillman this time, and Hillman has picked up his second. That's one of his problems. He does have foul difficulty.
He also gets himself, just like Robinzine gets himself in foul trouble being very aggressive. It's good to be aggressive, but you must remain under control. With a player like Silas, you don't want to really pressure him that much, that far out on the court. A mistake, you give him a chance to get some cheap points and get him off the mark. He's not a great offensive player, but anytime a guy can stand 15 feet away, he's going to make some.
35-year-old Paul Silas. He's the veteran as far as terms of service, but he's second in age to Gail Goodrich. He's the only older guy in the NBA right now. 30-26 again. It's a 4-point lead for the Kansas City Kings. Wedman, he hasn't had the ball a lot here in the early going. Here's Lacey with Sikma. That'll go, and he's been fouled. Lacey now with 11 points, and he has that glass really gauged, doesn't he?
Well, he was working on it before, and like I said, the thing that you don't want to do is let a guy get a few of those off. That time, Jack Sikma's right in his face. He punctured him, though. He popped that one right in his jaw, and he's on the line. He's going to get a couple.
That's the second foul on Sikma, and Lacey with a chance for a 3-point play, and Mr. Lacey is having quite a first period. 12 points. We still have 1:45 to go in this initial period. 33-26. Gus Williams, Red Brown, Birdsong with a tough assignment, staying with a veteran from Iowa. Brown, he'll shoot it if he gets any opportunity. Here he goes. Not bad, huh?
Well, that's real tough. Two players with almost similar type moves, and Brown just a little bit cagier than Otis Birdsong. He's got a few more years in service.
6 points in the game now for Brown. Birdsong trying to get it inside. You can see Seattle always moving their feet on defense. You can see why they're #1 in the NBA. There's 6 seconds on the shot clock, and Wedman is fouled. But they're having a tough time getting that ball in there.
Well, Seattle again makes you, when they make a team set up, they play pretty good harassing defense. They had a lead that they had made up. They're only down by 5 with 1:08 left. They played real tough basketball. Phil Ford comes out, and Herb McKinney, who had a big game against Seattle when they first showed up, 23 points. He's in the basketball game for his first appearance.
First appearance in 3 games. A week ago today, he sustained an ankle sprain, and he's come back. This is his first appearance in a week. Billy McKinney scored 23 points in both previous games with Seattle, so he has really had some good games against the Sonics.
You know the guy can score. He had a perfect night, 14 for 14.
Wedman now with a penalty in. He has his first point of the game, 34-28. But Scott Wedman, you'll hear from him before this game is over. He's averaging 18.5 points a game.
Friday night he was on fire. His first 7 shots, had trouble, probably would have had just an amazing first half. He got in foul trouble, had to sit down, but he had 19 points in 13 minutes.
Minute to go now. First period, 35-29. The Kings of the lead. Sikma off to Gus Williams. Rebound, Otis Birdsong. Here comes Billy McKinney. He kind of mirrors Ford in a lot of ways.
Well, he does not have that same type of quickness that Ford has.
And we have a traveling call. So Seattle now will take it on the side. Turnovers against Kansas City's 5. Seattle thus far with a total of 7. All Silas coming back to help. 40 seconds now remaining in this first period. McKinney, it's a left ankle that he sprained, and it's remarkable how quick he's been able to come back. He's 6 foot, playing in a land of a lot of giants.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, he'll sprain more than another ankle if you fool around there with Gus Williams, because he's awful quick and he's got a lot of acrobatic moves. He's real tough to handle. Silas back on the line again.
Well, McKinney's a guy that picked up the foul. He ran into the screen that time, and tell you that, you'll get beat up in a hurry doing that in the NBA.
Especially running into the pick by Paul Silas.
Silas, there's Cotton Fitzsimmons. I don't think he likes that particularly. His club getting into foul trouble early in some ways. They did Friday night, and with Ferguson out of there, they've lost some of that backup, some of that bench that's been so effective for them this year.
Well, they have a couple of other players over there can play center. Hillman can go in and play some. Richard Washington can go in and play some. Silas missed both of his free throws, and of course that's a little bit of help for Kansas City.
35-28. The Kings now will go for the last shot now this first period. Billy McKinney, all-time leading scorer at Northwestern, drafted by Phoenix and cut, came here as a free agent, and he beat out Mike Evans, who was the #1 draft pick out of Kansas State. Hillman, Lacey, 1 second on the shot clock. Look at that effort by Birdsong. The basket will not count. Darnell Hillman got it underway just after the buzzer sounded, so it will not count. And it's a 35-28 lead for the Kansas City Kings after 1 period. Kansas City getting off the mark very effectively.
You know, for too long now, bowlers have been left out of light beer commercials, and football players have been grabbing all the glory. But bowlers know light beer from Miller tastes great. We know light's got 1/3 less calories than the regular beer. We know light's less filling. Bowlers love light just as much as football players.
That's right.
And we also love the easy opening can.
You sure do.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less.
State Farm Agent Ray Bernard.
As I say, the only thing we sell is service. The least thing I can give is to be nice along with that service. And when it gets to where I can't be just as nice to someone when they come in with a problem or with a claim as when they come in to buy insurance, then I better get out of the business or take a few days off.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I'm Jack Sikma. Signals can warn you of trouble, and we should all know the signals of a heart attack. A pressure in the middle of your chest, like a squeezing or tightening, which may spread to the neck, shoulders, and arms. You may also feel faint, dizzy, sweaty, or sick to your stomach. If you get a warning signal, get help quickly. It could save your life.
This message for the American Heart Association was presented as a public service by the National Basketball Association.
This is Kim Wedman, the wife of Scott Wedman. We had the opportunity to visit with the two of them yesterday, and you'll be seeing that interview in the weeks to come at halftime on the NBA. This is Scott Wedman. Kim, and boy, she's an outdoors person. She loves to get outdoors. They went down the Salmon River on a float trip, and the two of them met at the University of Colorado, and there's Scott, very personable guy. Boy, what a career he's going to have. He's only in his 5th year. Very smart basketball player, plays excellent defense, and obviously averaging 18.5 points. He's contributing to the other end. We start the second period of play. Brown at one guard with Gus Williams, Sikma, Paul Silas, and now Dennis Autry has checked in. Here's Silas, who's been very active in this game. Loose ball foul coming up.
Seattle has a tremendous front line, and now Autry, Sikma, and Silas, they should get a lot of rebound. Kansas City, on the other hand, has a little bit more quickness up there. If they move the ball and move themselves quickly, they can continue to keep their advantage and their lead.
Autry, the guy they picked up from the Boston Celtics this year for a number 1 draft pick. He started out the year with Phoenix. Here's Darnell Hillman. Hillman now with 4 points. 37-28. There's Brown from his favorite spot. Silas trying to follow tip. And I believe Wedman is going to be called for the foul. Wedman down with his first. That's a case again of Silas.
Well, that's a case of Silas, but again, that's a case of the professor teaching someone how to play inside. Silas rode Scott Wedman's back up to get that tip, and Wedman gets called for the foul. Seattle handles the ball outside, but again, you have to really be conscious of where Paul Silas is.
Brown from the side. Chased down by Billy McKinney. Doesn't look like his ankle's bothering him very much, does it? Quickness of McKinney, and the rebound Robinzine.
It's funny how we all get well when we got a chance to score.
Here's Silas at 35 years of age. He's gained a couple of pounds this year, I believe.
Well, he has not played as much, but he still does what he has to get the job done, which is stay inside. He gets boxed all the way outside that time as Jack Sikma scored.
You like Sikma in the pivot. You think he's a better player there in the forward spot?
Well, he's much more effective. He can stay around, get more rebounds. He gets his shot off a little bit easier. He has a little bit better time defensively in handling the centers inside.
37-30. 7-point lead now for the Kings. 7 seconds on the shot clock, and wait a minute. We have a foul against Kansas City. It's going to be Hillman, and Hillman now already has 3 personal fouls. So he's going to have to come out of there, and Richard Washington will come in and replace him. And Hillman's a smart defensive player, but he always seems to get in trouble at the other end, foul-wise.
Well, you know, he chases a lot of balls trying to block and trying to help out on defense a lot of times. That time trying to fight through and set up a pick, he just ran over Fred Brown. He gets whistled, and he has to sit down.
7-point lead for the Kings as Richard Washington, the man who's they're bringing back slowly after having an injury that kept him out until about 5 games ago. Here's Brown. He's not hitting right now, but he's hustling. Who's got it? Coming away with Dennis Autry.
Well, one thing you have to be cognizant of with Fred Brown is that today he's shooting the basketball. And anytime you got a player of his offensive capabilities, he can catch fire at any time.
And he's got that confidence. He'll keep shooting until he gets on track. And there's Gus Williams. Gus Williams now with a total of 8 points. 37-32. Lucius Allen, who's just checked in, partially blocked that time. Silas comes away with yet another rebound, and he's been a force in this game. So Lucius Allen and Billy McKinney now the guards for Cotton Fitzsimmons Kansas City Kings. Silas, boy, he's really quick and active today.
Well, I mean, he set a nice pick there, and again, Williams waited for him. He rolled, nobody came to him. He was in clean. He's gotten off the mark, and now he's involved offensively, and he's hurting the Kansas City Kings.
He has 6 points. All of a sudden, it's a 3-point game, and another foul inside. Autry and Robinzine colliding underneath. Vanek now. John Vanek will indicate the foul is going to go on Autry, number 21.
Well, right now, Lenny's got that lineup in there that can just wear you down. He's throwing this like Kansas City livestock out here. He's throwing a lot of beef out there, and they're going at it. They're banging around underneath pretty good. Kansas City doesn't have those type of players that are very physical.
Lenny Wilkins, very calm and cool, as you're seeing. Wedman. Now Wedman coming up with his first field goal. He has 4 points. 39-34. Kenny, Williams bringing the ball up the floor. Silas, Fred Brown, Sikma with Richard Washington on him. Washington, the number 1 draft pick a couple of years ago out of UCLA. Sikma again. Boy, he faces the basket well.
Well, he does that. He has that very difficult shot, which is behind his head and real tough to get to, so he can get it off on almost any time he wants. But notice the difference in this quarter to the first. A lot of running. Both teams have had to come down and set up a great deal more, and Kansas City has gotten the worst of the setup offense.
Autry coming away with a defensive board. Brown off to Williams. Gus Williams from the side, and all of a sudden now it's a 1-point game. 39-38. Kansas City by 1, and Cotton Fitzsimmons going to call a timeout. So the Kings ask for a timeout as Cotton now is concerned. His club had a 7-point lead. It dissolved in a hurry, and at the 8:27 mark of this second period, the Kings lead it by 1.
Magnavox is handing out money during the big Magnavox annual sale. Come in now for a great deal on these Magnavox touch-tune color TVs and get a rebate right on the spot. Save on decorator stereos, save on Magnavox component systems, and get a rebate right on the spot. And save even more on remote control special bonus offer. The most exciting Magnavox annual sale ever, because Magnavox is handing out money.
Who do you share the power with? The power of Vitalis Super Hold, the pump.
With Tom every morning.
I share it with Jill.
We share the power of the pump. Vitalis Super Hold. The pump keeps
Keeps
our hair looking terrific. Why should women settle for less power when they can get the holding power of the pump? It can hold longer than the leading men's aerosol.
Come on, it's better when you share.
Get the pump, Vitalis Super Hold, and share the power.
You know me as Mr. Goodwrench, the professional mechanic who cares about your GM car. But your participating GM dealer also has a Mr. Goodwrench who cares at the service write-up desk and in the parts department. We're all over the service department, just to be sure your GM car gets Mr. Goodwrench professional care.
You never had it so good.
Keep that great GM feeling
With Mr. Goodwrench.
That's us.
and genuine GM parts.
Next Saturday on the new look CBS Sports Spectacular, see gymnastics in Baton Rouge, Grand Prix racing in South Africa, the fight of the week, and more. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
All right, let's take a look now. What happened earlier today in the NBA? New Jersey over New York as John Williamson had 30 points in that game, hit Jordan 28. San Antonio over Houston 127-107. Philadelphia defeated Denver 119-111. Low-scoring game, Washington over Golden State. And it was Chicago losing to Cleveland 117-108. We're back here now with 8:27 remaining before halftime, 39-38. The Kings by 1.
4 minutes almost gone by in this period, and the Kings have only scored 4 points. They had 35 of the period, and again, Seattle pulling that string, letting you run out, pulling it back in. Kansas City's had a tough time running their offense down at this end when they haven't had the breaking opportunities. Seattle has come back and outscored them in this period.
Richard Washington turning the ball over. That is thus far 6 turnovers in the game against Kansas City.
The surprising thing right there, Harpo, he wants the ball. Dennis Lacey, normally not an offensive player. He's calling for the ball. He doesn't get it. Gus Williams takes it.
Look at Washington go up. They're bringing him along slowly after the foot injury. They kept him out. McKinney to Washington. Won't go. Sikma brings it down. And now the Sonics again have a chance to take the lead in this game. Red Brown with Lucius Allen on him. Brown, a little move there. Here's Sikma going in. Washington bats it away. I think Fred Brown's fired up.
Well, Fred was going to dance. He just couldn't decide which way he was going to take it, and then he got hung up, and he kicked the ball off. They inbound the ball. He gets it again.
Lucius Allen, who played his high school basketball right here in the Kansas City area, and then at UCLA, pressuring Brown. He can't get that shot. And Washington now doing a good job on the defensive board.
Richard Washington has the skill to be a good defensive, offensive rebounder, just has to go to work. It's something you have to do.
McKinney, who's missed 3 games, a little off his game offensively. Here's Lucius Allen heading back up the floor to McKinney. You can see Seattle makes you work for everything. McKinney takes it in, and this time he's got it. His first 2 points, 41-38. Great effort that time by Seattle defensively, but McKinney just wouldn't be denied on it.
Well, Silas made that real good outlet pass and just a little bit awry. Gus Williams didn't get it. McKinney hustled to it and got himself a shot.
There's Gus Williams, and Williams, boy, what touch this guy has. He already has 12 points in the game, averaging just over 17. There's San Diego. Boy, what a surprise they've been, leading Boston.
San Diego just playing real good offensive basketball. They put it up. They try and keep the tempo high. The only team they really have trouble with is the San Antonio Spurs, who can really play fast break basketball, good offensive game all night long.
Steve, I'll tell you, Kansas City's only getting 1 crack at that basket. They're really closing in, Seattle is, on the defensive board. There's Gus Williams now. They have 8 seconds on the shot clock. Sikma wide open. Rebound Robinzine. And Robinzine, who came in last year weighing 242 pounds, he lost 25. He's gained a little bit back, but he's much better shape than a year ago. And there's a charging foul on Washington.
You could see that one coming all the way. Richard Washington left his feet, committing himself a little bit too early, pitching the ball away. He crashed right into Dennis Autry. The ball goes down. Kansas City is really struggling right now. They've only scored 6 points.
The Miller people promised me a case of light beer if I could keep this ball spinning for the length of this commercial. Now, I'm not one to show off, but I do just about anything for a few light beers.
You always wanted in a beer, and less.
Hey, Charlie.
Chevrolet dedicates the new midsize Chevy Malibu wagon to all the new wagon people. People who shop in those great little stores, people who camp in the great outdoors, people with kids and people without, people who haul things inside or out, skiers and surfers and joggers and more. People who enjoy a useful rear door, people who store some nice odds and ends, people who enjoy lots of nice friends. They're coming to Chevy now. You should too. To a fresh new slice of apple pie called Chevy Malibu.
Port of call, Caribbean. The Navy. See your local recruiter or call toll-free. It's not just a job, it's an adventure.
Billy's 19, Joanna's 18, and they want to get married, but no one sees it their way. Married the first year, Wednesday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
Well, Portland leading Detroit out west, 27-26.
Portland's been out on the road, and they've really had it tough out there. They can't seem to win out on the road. They got one of the best home records. They won 25, 26 games at home and only 4 or 5 on the road, and you just can't make the playoffs that way.
This is Joe Hassett, number 10, who's just checked in. He's a second-year man out of Providence. Also, Bob Nash, number 55, has checked in for Kansas City. A very hard worker defensively for this Kansas City team. Hassett from outside. There with the rebound is Robinzine, and he has a handful now. Phil Ford has checked back in. And you can see the tempo picks up just another notch when he comes in. Birdsong, that basket will count, and a foul coming up. 13 points now for Otis Birdsong.
Well, when in trouble, go to your bread and butter. They brought Phil Ford back in the ball game, and immediately he gets an assist by passing the ball out to Birdsong. Birdsong, seeing that Joe Hassett is on him, not near the defensive player that Dennis Johnson or Fred Brown is. He gets a three-point play.
14 points now. That last foul going against Hassett, his first. So Hassett and Gus Williams now playing in the backcourt. John Johnson dash in front of him. He played the good D, and here comes Ford. They have a 3-on-2. Ford all the way. He's going to be called for charging because he got his foot up.
Oh, he just walked right up Joe Hassett's chest that time. He took that one in. They had a good breaking opportunity. He probably should have stopped at the lane. He picks up another foul. Immediately has to go to the bench, and Herb McKinney comes back in. They got a quick bit of life right then. Let's see if they can keep it up, Garrett.
Cotton not happy about that. That's the third foul now on Ford. Both he and Hillman have 3 for Kansas City.
Okay, there's no question about that one. All they have to do is look at the footprints on Hassett's chest.
Oh! I think Birdsong was upset about it too. Birdsong with 16 points. 46-40, a 6-point lead for Kansas City. That's the reason they're packing them in here at Kemper Arena.
Lenny Wilkins just trying to get his team to calm down now, run a play. They've had 2 quick turnovers. They want to take advantage of the fact, get themselves a hoop. Hassett, who can shoot the ball, buries that one from the perimeter.
They had a nickname for him, Sonar, at college because he had that radar-type shooting outside. Billy McKinney. Boy, you wouldn't think he could get away with that, would you?
Well, he did a real good job. Gus Williams all of a sudden let him go, and Silas didn't get in there quick enough to pick him up, and he got it off the glass.
48-42, 4.5 minutes at halftime. Cotton Fitzsimmons. Don Crickey will visit with him. Get an inside look at a guy that could be the coach of the year. There's a foul coming up. John Vanek will whistle it on McKinney. Lenny Wilkins, who last year took over the club, took him to the 7th and final game against Washington before losing. And this year everybody said, well, when Marvin Webster left, they were dead. But somebody forgot to tell him.
Well, they forgot to tell all 11 members of the Sonics. They played like they were almost champions a year ago, and they're trying to repeat, trying to get back to those playoff and the final championship round. But they are almost an interchangeable team. They've had a lot of people break down as Hassett gets another hoop. But they keep changing. People come in and do the job. That's why they're in first place in the Pacific Division.
Well, Hassett is averaging just under 4 points a game, and he already has 4 right now. Here's Birdsong. Birdsong, and a foul coming up. Hassett reaching in. He picks up his second personal.
He'll better get his quick because he's in a lot of trouble with guarding Otis Birdsong down there. Birdsong going to the well almost every time down. He takes his time. He does something that Fred Brown does. He's a little bit bigger than Brown and doesn't have to be quite so acrobatic, but he fakes. He does a lot of ball faking. He looks at his man, checks him out, gets him off balance, and then he goes to the hoop. He's on the free throw line right now.
Number 22 is Gus Gerard, and he's become somewhat of a that's being picked up as a free agent. He's come in and really given the Kings some outstanding play. And here comes Sikma back in. Silas will go out.
Gary, anytime you can score 12 points in 4 minutes, you got to be some kind of hero. He did that against Chicago.
Here's Otis Birdsong. Birdsong carrying the load offensively with 18 points. 50-44, and we have an entertaining game here. Gus Williams with Billy McKinney on him. We got some beef in there now with Autry and Sikma. We do not have right now the capabilities of replaying some of this action because of some technical difficulties. We hope to get it before this game is over. And there's a foul inside, and it's going to go against Gus Gerard, who just checked in. Gerard played in the ABA. He's bounced around, but the reason he got a shot here is he played last year in Buffalo for Cotton Fitzsimmons.
Gus is a pretty good player. I mean, the only thing that probably hurts him is his head more than anything else. He seems to be a little flaky sometimes. He's a good offensive player, a lot of skills. He just is not mentally tough enough all the time, which it takes to be a real good player in the NBA.
The old man of the ball club, Sam Lacey, comes down with that one off to McKinney around the back. Little excitement here. Off it comes Otis Birdsong. They've got Ford out of there now because of 3 personal fouls. Birdsong cutting inside, and a foul on Hassett. Hassett's picked up 3 in a hurry. He's just having a tough time with Birdsong cutting in the middle.
Well, Birdsong's just a tremendous offensive player, and you have got to be able to keep him from getting that position. Joe Hassett, a second-year player, just is not very good foot speed-wise, a lot of quickness, so Birdsong just cutting, trying to get to the position. He's getting there. He's getting to the free throw line. He's cashing in. Joe's going to take a seat.
Yes, sir. Fred Brown replaces him. The penalty now in. Hassett picking up the 3rd foul at the line with 18 points, Otis Birdsong. You know, Cotton Fitzsimmons said, I don't think there's anybody that can handle this guy.
Oh, he's just a tremendous offensive player. He's under control on almost all the shots that he's shooting. He can go inside, he can go outside. He handles the ball. He doesn't have to handle it all the time. He can just work for a shot, and that makes it tough on the defense.
52-44, 3 minutes left in this first half of play. Brown with Birdsong on him. Brown, beautiful open pass, blocked that time. What a job by Lacey. There's McKinney. Gerard and a foul. Gerard is fouled on the baseline by Jack Sikma. And that is indicative of Kansas City. And the crowd was on their feet on that break down the floor.
Well, that was just a tremendous play by them. They made a great block inside. Otis been calling for the ball all day. He finally got it batted away. McKinney leads them up to break, and they got the ball.
Every day the world awakens. People dream of what awaits them, getting ready to go on out and find their world. Every day we fly, we're showing the experience of knowing what the world wants when they want to fly. The world can we fly the world the way the world wants to fly. And we fly the world the way the world wants to fly. We fly the world the way the world wants to fly. We fly the world the way the world wants to fly.
All across our land, people know our brand. You can trust AC.
Thanks, AC.
Spark plugs by AC.
Hear that, men? You can trust AC spark plugs. And remember AC filters to help protect your engine from dirt and dust. Right, Ben? Ben? Heads!
Drive through dirt and dust. Good filters are a must. You can trust AC.
Thanks, AC.
Filters by AC. Plugs and filters by AC.
Tuesday, basic training takes on a whole new look when the U.S. Military Academy is invaded by Women at West Point. The CBS Tuesday night movie at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
Well, the leading scorer for Seattle in this game, Gus Williams with 12, but he's been bested thus far by his counterpart for the Kansas City Kings, Otis Birdsong, leading everybody out there with a total of 20 points. Again, Lenny Wilkins showing that He can control the situation. This team's a good road team, and I think we're seeing why. The minute somebody starts making a move on him, he calls timeout, steadies the club back down, gets their poise back.
It's very important to keep the team under control so they can control the tempo. Controlling the tempo only means doing what you want to do, not letting the other team do what they want to do. And Kansas City likes to push the ball up to court. And when Seattle was having success in running back at them, they had them setting up. Bill Ford came in instantly and got a couple of quick breaks, and they have been going that way ever since he came out. Birdsong sitting down with just 20 points right next to Scott Wedman, but he had 21 in the first half against Phoenix the other night.
For Gus Gerard picking up the points, 54-44, a 10-point lead now for Kansas City. Autry has come out of the ball game after picking up his third foul. Silas is in with Sikma and Johnny Johnson to the forward wall. Here's Fred Brown and a foul.
Black 42 white.
That's Lucius Allen. Allen trying to reach in. Allen started out the year on the injury list with a foot injury. And now he's come back, and Cotton feels that down the stretch, his experience in Savage really going to help this club.
Well, certainly they will need it. I mean, Kansas City's looking at a shot that they're in contention for the best record. They're right close with Washington. Washington won 41 games. They won 39. Victory here today keeps them right in the race.
Ellie McKinney, Seattle coming in here with a half-game lead in the Pacific Division. Breakaway to Williams. Gus Williams.
That's what I mean about Gus Williams. That's when he's best, and McKinney was right side by side with him. Williams catches the ball and still gets himself under control and carries it to the hoop.
Boy, he's one of the quickest players in the NBA. There's no question about it. 54-46, Gerard on the side. Lacey trying to save it. Nash, Gerard. Good ball movement.
Well, that's good team play right there. Gerard misses, and Nash comes up with that free ball and gives it back to him. That'll make a player give it up at the other end, and Fred Brown answers.
Now there is a sign that if he starts hitting, he can bring the team back in a hurry.
All they want to do, what Seattle wants to do, is stay close. They know that the game can turn on just a couple of plays, and they don't want the teams to get too far out in front.
Bob Nash had a great game against Philadelphia, 24 points in 24 minutes. Can't get that one to go. Williams again. Here's Gerard, and Gerard, who's really become a favorite here, comes away with a rebound. Billy McKinney going to have to play a lot now the remainder of this first half with Ford on the bench with 3 fouls. A minute 16 to go before halftime. Lucius Allen, who played on that World Championship team, the Milwaukee Bucks. 58-48, back up by 10 with just over a minute to go in this first half. John Johnson. And we've got a charging foul.
He ran right over Gus Gerard. He lost control of the basketball. He was on his way up to the hoop, and he just crashed into Gerard, and that puts Gerard back on the free throw line, a chance again to get some easy hoops and increase the lead. 59 seconds left. They could go up by 12.
Loose ball, go for the rebound.
So the foul on Johnson. Johnson now with 3. Also 3 on Shelton, who we haven't seen since the early going. Dennis Johnson has 3. Autry has 3, and Hassett has 3. So you can see Seattle's got some foul problems. On the other hand, Kansas City has 2 men with 3, that being Ford and Darnell Hillman. A penalty in for Gerard. We'll have another one coming. And we're going to have a timeout, I believe. Oh, wait a minute, a technical foul. The foul is on there. The technical foul's on Seattle.
Autry replaces Johnson to the side.
Johnson leaving it. I don't know if he got the tee or who it was.
He may have had a parting shot. He looked at Lenny kind of funny. Lenny gave him a little grin. McKinney gets the bounce.
That's who it was. John Johnson got the technical. So Gerard now will go to the line. There he is, 9-year veteran out of Iowa. A very crafty player. They picked him up last year for Houston for 2 number 2 picks in 79 and 80. And he was a regular for him last year.
Excellent all-around player, and he'd always tried to be noted as a scorer before he came to Seattle. He's not got to shoot the ball as much, but he does pass and play pretty good defense for them.
60-48. Kansas City gained a little breathing room as we go to this 50 seconds of this first half. Fred Brown, that one's short. You can see that one, but Williams gets an easy one.
When you live right, you get those kind of breaks. Gus had no business in there, and it fell right in his hand.
16 points now for Gus Williams, the leading scorer for Seattle. Kelly McKinney looking around the pick by Lacey. Lucius Allen. Boy, Allen's got those long arms at 6'2". He can get the ball up and shoot it well. Gerard. Allen to the rebound. Bob Nash. Bob Nash scoring his first 2 points. There's another reclamation project by Cotton Fitzsimmons. He came back from Sweden after playing there 2 years. Cotton knew about him in the junior college ranks. He played at San Jacinto before going to the University of Hawaii. Broken up. And whose basketball is it? With 1 second left. It's going to be Seattle's basketball. A 12-point lead for Kansas City. Seattle would like to whittle that to 10. Williams can't do it. And so Kansas City with a very impressive first half, looking for their 15th straight win at home. They have a 12-point, 62-50 lead. Stay with us at halftime as we'll have an interview with Cotton Fitzsimmons.
Think of yourself in a special way in the new Monte Carlo from Chevrolet. Think of yourself behind the wheel, enjoying that special Monte Carlo feel, standing tall, feeling proud. Put a little distance between yourself and the crowd.
When you shoot a lot of pool and bars, you want to stay fast and loose, and you don't want to get filled up. That's why I drink light beer from Miller. Got a third less calories than their regular beer, and it's less filling. Plus the taste is great. And even though a lot of people don't think pool is strenuous, let me tell you something. You can work up a real good thirst, even when you're just showing off.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I used to have a dandruff problem. I don't now since I started using Selsun Blue. Girlfriend of mine, I took her best fun away in life. She used to sneak up behind me and dust off all the particles. Now she can't do that anymore.
Selsun Blue is the only leading dandruff shampoo that contains the anti-dandruff ingredient doctors prescribe most.
If you haven't heard about Selsun Blue, you're missing out. It just totally gets rid of the dandruff problem. I just don't have to worry about dandruff at all.
Olympic medalist Susie Korok for Color Track by RCA.
The hat's blue.
Well, the leading scorer for Seattle in this game, Gus Williams with 12, but he's been bested thus far by his counterpart for the Kansas City Kings, Otis Birdsong, who's leading everybody out there with a total of 20 points. Again, Lenny Wilkins showing that we can control the situation. This team's a good road team, and I think we're seeing why. The minute somebody starts making a move on him, he calls timeout, steadies the club back down, gets their poise back.
It's very important to keep the team under control so they can control the tempo. Controlling the tempo only means doing what you want to do, not letting the other team do what they want to do. And Kansas City likes to push the ball up to court. And when Seattle was having success in running back at them, they had them setting up. Bill Ford came in instantly and got a couple of quick breaks, and they have been going that way ever since he came out. Birdsong sitting down with this 20 points right next to Scott Wedman, but he had 21 in the first half against Phoenix the other night.
So Gus Gerard picking up the points, 54-44, a 10-point lead now for Kansas City. Autry has come out of the ball game after picking up his third foul. Silas is in with Sikma and Johnny Johnson to the forward wall. Here's Fred Brown and a foul. That's Lucius Allen. Allen trying to reach in. Allen started out the year on the injury list with a foot injury. And now he's come back, and Cotton feels that down the stretch, his experience in Savage really going to help this club.
Well, certainly they will need it. I mean, Kansas City's looking at a shot that they're in contention for the best record. They're right close with Washington. Washington won 41 games. They've won 39. Victory here today keeps them right in the race.
Ellie McKinney, Seattle coming in here with a half-game lead in the Pacific Division. Breakaway to Williams. Gus Williams.
That's what I mean about Gus Williams. That's when he's best, and McKinney was right side by side with him. Williams catches the ball and still gets himself under control and carries it to the hoop.
Boy, he's one of the quickest players in the NBA. There's no question about it. 54-46, Gerard inside. Lacey trying to save it. Nash, Gerard. Good ball movement.
Well, that's good team play right there. Gerard misses and Nash comes up with that free ball and gives it back to him. That'll make a player give it up at the other end as Fred Brown answers.
Now there is a sign that if he starts hitting, he can bring a team back in a hurry.
Well, you know, all they want to do, what Seattle wants to do, is stay close. They know that the game can turn on just a couple of plays, and they don't want the teams to get too far out in front.
Bob Nash had a great game against Philadelphia, 24 points in 24 minutes. Can't get that one to go. Williams again. Here's Gerard, and Gerard, who's really become a favorite here, comes away with a rebound. Billy McKinney going to have to play a lot now the remainder of this first half with Ford on the bench with 3 fouls. 1:16 to go before halftime. Lucius Allen, who played on that World Championship team, the Milwaukee Bucks. 58-48, back up by 10 with just over a minute to go in this first half. John Johnson. And we've got a charging foul.
He ran right over. He ran right over Gus Gerard. He lost control of the basketball. He was on his way up to the hoop, and he just crashed into Gerard, and that puts Gerard back on the free throw line. A chance again to get some easy hoops and increase the lead. 59 seconds left. They could go up by 12.
Loose ball. Go for the rebound.
So the foul on Johnson. Johnson now with 3. Also 3 on Shelton, who we haven't seen since the early going. Dennis Johnson has 3. Autry has 3, and Hassett has 3. So you can see Seattle's got some foul problems. On the other hand, Kansas City has 2 men with 3, that being Ford and Darnell Hillman. The penalty in for Gerard. He'll have another one coming. And we're going to have a timeout, I believe. No, wait a minute, a technical foul. The foul is on, or the technical foul's on Seattle.
Autry replaces Johnson for the side.
Johnson leaving, and I don't know if he got the tee or who it was.
He may have had a parting shot. He looked at Lenny kind of funny. Lenny gave him a little grin. McKinney gets the bounce.
That's who it was. John Johnson got the technical. So Gerard now will go to the line. There he is, 9-year veteran out of Iowa. He's a very crafty player. They picked him up last year for Houston for 2 number 2 picks in 79 and 80. And he was
Johnny
a regular
Johnson's
for him
an
last
excellent
year.
all-around player, and he'd always tried to be noted as a scorer before he came to Seattle. He's not got to shoot the ball as much, but he does pass and play pretty good defense for them.
60-48. Kansas City getting a little breathing room as we go to the last 50 seconds of this first half. Fred Brown, that one's short. You can see that one, but Williams gets an easy one.
When you live right, you get those kind of breaks. Gus had no business in there, and it fell right in his hand.
16 points now for Gus Williams, the leading scorer for Seattle. Billy McKinney looking around the pick by Lacey. Lucius Allen. Boy, Allen's got those long arms at 6'2". He can get the ball up and shoot it well. Gerard. Allen with the rebound. Bob Nash. Bob Nash scoring his first 2 points. There's another reclamation project by Cotton Fitzsimmons. He came back from Sweden after playing there 2 years. Cotton knew about him in the junior college ranks. He played at San Jacinto before going to the University of Hawaii. Broken up. And whose basketball is it? With 1 second left. It's going to be Seattle's basketball. A 12-point lead for Kansas City. Seattle would like to whittle that to 10. Williams can't do it. And so Kansas City with a very impressive first half, looking for their 15th straight win at home. They have a 12-point, 62-50 lead. Stay with us at halftime as we'll have an interview with Cotton Fitzsimmons.
Think of yourself in a special way in the new Monte Carlo from Chevrolet. Think of yourself behind the wheel, enjoying that special Monte Carlo feel, standing tall, feeling proud. Put a little distance between yourself and the crowd.
When you shoot a lot of pool and bars, you want to stay fast and loose, and you don't want to get filled up. That's why I drink light beer from Miller. It's got a third less calories than their regular beer, and it's less filling. Plus, the taste is great. And even though a lot of people don't think pool is strenuous, let me tell you something. You can work up a real good thirst even when you're just showing off.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I used to have a dandruff problem. I don't now since I started using Selsun Blue. Girlfriend of mine, I took her best fun away in life. She used to sneak up behind me and dust off all the particles. Now she can't do that anymore.
Selsun Blue is the only leading dandruff shampoo that contains the anti-dandruff ingredient doctors prescribe most.
If you haven't heard about Selsun Blue, you're missing out. It just totally gets rid of the dandruff problem. I just don't have to worry about dandruff at all.
Olympic medalist Susie Korok for Color Track by RCA.
My hat's blue, my vest is yellow, and my pants are hot dog red.
If these colors don't look right, see them on a 1979 color track. Getting the color right is what it's all about.
And now, with channel lock tuning, it tracks the color more automatically than ever.
Before you see the Color Track system grabs it, aligns it, defines it, sharpens it, tones it, and locks the color on track.
RCA is making television better and better.
A strong candidate for Coach of the Year in the NBA this season is Cotton Fitzsimmons of the Kansas City Kings. Last week, Don Criqui was in Kansas City, and he talked to the enthusiastic Cotton Fitzsimmons.
There are a lot of great basketball names coaching in the NBA, people like Jerry West and Billy Cunningham and Dave Cowens, but when they inscribe the name of the 1978-79 Coach of the Year on that trophy, there's a very good chance it'll be Lowell Fitzsimmons. You know him as Cotton, and he's the coach this year of the Kansas City Kings, a club that was about the worst in the league last year and is now one of the absolute best. Cotton, what happened here?
I don't know, we must have the right ingredients because it just turned around for us. We got some confidence early in the year, and the guys believe in themselves, and we're winning.
What about Coach of the Year? Are you looking forward to that?
Well, no, not really. It may sound crazy to you. Too many coaches of the year have been fired in this league, and, hey, I'm a survivor in this league. I don't want to be fired.
Cotton, the best part of your game is on the sidelines. You're always working, you're always talking, you're giving your opinions to officials, to your players. You keep that low profile, though. I guess it's harder to hit a low target with a tee, huh?
Well, it really is. A few years ago when I came in the league with Phoenix, I would sit on the bench, but when something would go wrong, next thing I know, I'd be out on the floor. I'd jump out on the floor, and I got a lot of tees, and finally I decided, to go down on the one knee on the sideline, and it's harder to get up off the one knee, and plus the fact, you're not right in their face. And you never are challenging an official right in his face. So it's helped me a great deal. It helps me relax, really, in that position.
You like to work on those officials, though. Keep that conversation with them.
Well, I think it's important to keep a dialogue going. I don't want the edge, but I don't want the other guy to have the edge. And I think it's important that you just keep a dialogue going. And I do like all the officials. There's nothing personal about it. An official has a job to do on the floor, and I also have a job to do as a coach. We want to win the ball game.
Yeah, you've been around the game a long time, and people talk about the changing attitudes of the players. What about your own approach to the game? Has it changed over the years?
Well, I think it's changed somewhat, but not a great deal. I've always felt that the game should be fun. I have fun coaching, and I'm definitely going to have fun today coaching the ball game. And it should be fun for the players, and I don't really care what level. I don't care if it's on a junior college level, the university level, or the pro level. It still should be fun, even though it is our job, and we do make a living that way. But I try to keep it fun. But there's only one way to have fun in this business. That's to win.
Cotton, if you would just reflect on some of the humorous things you remember about being a coach, some of the anecdotes, just to reel off some.
Well, I think there's a lot of funny things that occur to you being a coach. One of the funniest things happened to me in college. The only year I served as an assistant coach in my lifetime, I was with Tex Winter, who coached in the NBA with the Houston Rockets, and we were going up to Nebraska to play a game, and Tex had an old favorite brown suit that he just loved, and I told him, I said, hey, Tex, the suit has had it. You got to give it up, He said, no, it'll hold up, and so we went to Nebraska to play against Joe Cipriano's Cornhuskers up there, and they liked to press, and they were playing in that little building where they sold popcorn in your huddle and Cokes in your huddle. It was so small, and they were pressing us one time, and it started the game, and sure enough, Tex jumped up, and I've heard of coaches see the pants ripping out. I've never heard of them falling out. And Tex just went on like nothing happened. I said, Tex, I told you it wouldn't hold up. He says, hey, Cotton, if that's all we lose here tonight, we'll be lucky. And I thought that was one of the best. But, as far as the players go, I've worked with so many different guys, and to me, they're all kind of funny. I try to keep it on that level. I want to be business about it, I want to let them know that they have a job to do and everything. But you should have fun. You should have fun at practice and everything. I'd hate for the players to come into practice and really it'd be drudgery and for them to hate to come to practice. And we have fun in our practices here. And we got some crazy people on this team. Let me tell you, that rookie from North Carolina is crazy. Let me tell you that.
Like how?
Oh, man, he is just crazy all the time. He's always him and Birdsong are constantly picking on Lacey. Lacey is the veteran of the team, and the people who've watched Sam Lacey for 9 years think Sam's mad at the world because he's so intent during the course of the game. He very seldom ever smiles and everything, and I tell you, they just wear the poor guy out. They'll hide his jumping rope from him. They'll do anything and everything they can. Ford will tell him, well, Lace, let me tell you something. I sure hope in 9 years, I sure hope that I'll be as strong as you are, and be able to get in the whirlpool every day like you do. So they wear him out pretty good.
Cotton, when you think of all the great players you've had over the years, I guess you always have to harken back to the Hawk, Connie Hawkins.
The Hawk is one of my favorites. It was a shame, that Connie didn't come into this league when he was a young man. He had to wait until he was 27 years old, but quite a talent, great player. I had him in Phoenix, and he was on top of his game then, and led our team in scoring. But then I had him in Atlanta his last year and my last year in Atlanta, and we were struggling and everything. And I'll never forget one night, the Hawk was famous for his dunk as he would fly down the middle. The Hawk would soar, and down he would go. And sure enough, one night he had a breakaway, stole the ball, and it looked like that he tripped over the free throw line. And he could just barely get the ball up, and it was not a Connie Hawkins dunk. And he just barely got it over the rim, and the ball came out. And, everybody kind of was laughing in the Omni. And the first time a foul was called and Atlanta was shooting, Hawk came over to the bench and he says, hey, Coach, let me tell you something. We've got to do one or two things. He said, we're either going to have to lower the basket or we're going to have to raise the floor, because he says the Hawk can't fly anymore. That's Connie Hawkins. He's a great guy and a great player.
It's been a lot of fun, and Cotton, continued success. It's been a great year for you.
Thank you. I hope we can just keep it up. It's a long way from home. We have to win the rest of our ball games, because I know Denver, Milwaukee, all of them are trying to make a push right now.
12-point lead at halftime for Kansas City. The NBA on CBS will continue after this word from your local station.
Sunday, seeing who's the best sport was never more fun. Buddy Hackett and Tom Brookshire host Celebrity Challenge of the Sexes. Sunday at 9, 8 Central and Mountain.
This is CBS.
Basketball is everyone's game. Short folks, tall folks, girl folks, boy folks, young folks, all folks. Basketball is everyone's game. Basketball, it's your game.
At the conclusion of today's game, in each of our NBA telecasts during the season, we'll be selecting the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game. In conjunction with this award, Chevrolet will present a check for $1,000 to the General Scholarship Fund of the player's college or university. Any student may be eligible to benefit from these scholarship funds. Today's winner will be announced at the end of the telecast, and Steve Jones, you and I will be voting for the MVP, and should we disagree, our producer, Tom O'Neill, will cast the deciding vote. Well, it's a 12-point game now with Kansas City on top. But let's talk about another situation. The Portland Trail Blazers coming into today, they're 7.5 games out, but I hear a rumor that Bill Walton might be traded.
Well, rumor has it he wanted to be traded. He's been that way all season long. And, of course, one of the teams that's hurting a great deal is the New York Knicks, and they could use a player of Bill Walton's stature. They have 3 draft choices. They're not happy with Marvin Webster. They could send him and the draft choices to Portland. Webster, who thrives in the Northwest, he could get back home, play around some pretty good players. Portland certainly would help themselves, and New York certainly would help themselves by getting a player like Bill Walton.
Well, you know, that Pacific Division's a long ways over from being decided. You know what? I don't know who's going to come out on that. I think there's 5 teams still trying to get in there.
Well, they have a dogfight right down there at the bottom. You know, Golden State, who seem to have the best record as far as home and away advantage of the other teams, Portland and San Diego, is hurting some. They can't seem to win at home. They have won some games on the road, which has kept them in it. San Diego, the surprise, playing good, hot offensive basketball, are at even 500, and Portland struggling because they can't win away, and they need some help.
Steve, let's take a look now. It's what's happening in the NBA. What will exactly happen today? Well, here's New Jersey defeating New York, 16 to 102.
They got the San Antonio, who just plays good basketball, and they blew Houston right out in the Battle of the Alamo down there.
Philadelphia over Denver, and Denver led in that game. The Sixers came roaring back.
Twice by 15.
And then a low-scoring game. Washington, the best record in basketball.
They just keep on rolling. Golden State has their hands full, and Chicago just beating the hapless Chicago right there.
Cleveland's been playing a lot better basketball. Now, how are we going to figure the playoffs? Let's look first. Washington, they're going to make it. Philadelphia, New Jersey, are they going to make the playoffs?
Well, New Jersey is going to make it. Certainly, they're surprised. You see New York and Boston, and we'd like to see them in it, but both of those teams are hurting and struggling, and they will not make it back.
Well, Philadelphia trailed by 6 going into today. New Jersey by 10. Then in the Central Conference, San Antonio, I'll tell you, Houston's on their tail, though. They are now trailing by 3, though, after today's game.
Well, Moses Malone has kept them in the hunt, but the surprise of that group is the Atlanta Hawks. They have been able to stay right there. They may even overtake Houston, who has had a little bit of trouble.
Atlanta trailing by 3.5 at the start of the day. Then, as we switch to the Western Conference, first the Midwest Division, the surprising Kings, and they put some more distance between themselves and Denver, particularly if they can win today.
Certainly, and again, they have, if they can win today and keep that record up, they will have 40 wins, which will be second best in the league, and they have been awfully tough, and they seem to improve with every game. Denver has been struggling all year long. Best they can hope for is improvement at the end of the season.
Milwaukee just won't make it this year after being a surprise a year ago. And then the division that we alluded to earlier, what a chase this is. At the start of the day, Seattle leads Los Angeles by a half game, Phoenix by 2, San Diego by 7, and Portland by 7.5.
Well, you know, that is a tough race, and all of those teams are capable of blowing you out. Teams hate to come west and face these teams there because they all seem to do so poorly against them. Seattle just seems to have enough to win this division. I would say if they stopped it today, the playoffs candidates would be Seattle. You see right here, Kansas City, Seattle, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Denver, and San Diego. And, of course, San Diego would be the surprise.
Now, that is if they started the playoffs today. And there is one of our fans here at Kemper Arena. So it's a 12-point lead at halftime by the Kansas City Kings, 62-50. The Kings trying to win their 15th straight at home. We'll be back with the second half in a moment.
Avis Super Saver rates. Special rates that save you money. Like our 7-day See America rate.
Look out, L.A. Bye.
Or our special holiday rates.
We get to go to grandmother's house.
And on weekends, Avis Super Saver rates can save you up to 50% off our weekday rates.
50% off?
Up to 50%.
See you Monday.
Call our toll-free number or your travel consultant. Some restrictions do apply.
You don't need a haircut, Mr. Reed. You need Brill Cream.
Brill Cream?
Sure. Your hair is short enough, but it's a mess.
It sure is.
Brill Cream, so concentrated, just a little dab keeps my hair healthy looking and in control all day. Watch. Without Brill Cream, hair's out of control. With Brill Cream, hair stays in control. Try a little dab. See? Terrific, huh?
You're right. With Brill Cream, a little dab will do you.
A family is about to lose its home forever. Not the home on the left. Allstate Homeowners Insurance can pay to rebuild that house. The real disaster is on the right. The owner died before the mortgage was paid. Allstate Life has mortgage protection insurance to help give your family a debt-free home if you die. You need mortgage protection insurance, too. So your family won't lose its home, see your Allstate agent for both kinds of insurance. Make sure your home lives on. You're in good hands with Allstate.
My son Charlie had measles when he was a baby. He was unlucky. He's going to be deaf for life. Your child doesn't have to have measles or any of the childhood diseases you can protect against. Charlie missed some of his shots. If you don't have your child fully immunized and he gets sick, how will you say you're sorry? Call your doctor or local health department. Immunize your child, please.
The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Basketball Association. The NBA on CBS. Today's show is sponsored by Lowenbrau, Light Special and Dark Special, when it's time for the taste of a truly great beer. Suzuki Motorcycles, Suzuki the Performer. And by Sylvania, makers of Super Set Color TV and a complete line of home entertainment products.
12-point lead for Kansas City, and Steve Jones, as you look at the stats in this first half, I guess the big one is the free throw shooting.
Well, it certainly is. You know, Kansas City's got 80% from the line, but the big difference here is they've been there 25 times. They've cashed in on 20 of them. Both teams are same on field goals, 21 apiece. Seattle's not got the better shooting. They put more balls in the air. Kansas City shooting the better percentage. I think the difference has been at the free throw line. Both teams are fairly even turnovers, offense and defensive rebound. It's a dog fight. Seattle got themselves down a little bit, but they'll be coming back.
Otis Birdsong in this first half hit 6 of 8 from the field.
A great offensive player. They've got Dennis Johnson back in the game, who is struggling offensively, but they need his defensive capabilities to try and put a halter on Mr. Birdsong.
They had to get him out of there. He had 3 fouls. He's one of 5 players on this Seattle team that has 3 fouls. 12-point lead now, Lonnie Shelton, who has 3 fouls. Then to Dennis Johnson, he's fouled by Birdsong, and Johnson shaken on the play. Just like he got wrapped up there with Birdsong.
Just got hooked and a little bit off balance as he tried to handle it. They get the ball out on the side. Birdsong picked up that foul, and that's his 3rd.
He has 3. Ford has 3. Hillman with 3.
They hope he can pick up a couple more real quick and sit down.
Sikma trying to back in against Lacey. And reaching in on him was Lacey. So Lacey picks up the foul. That's his 2nd.
Well, we're back. We're back, and we get another look at it. Our equipment has been repaired. Sikma comes right there. You'll see Lacey reaching in. They get a little foul. Coaches don't like to get these fouls early in the ball game and get that team foul situation where a team is shooting in the bonus.
You knew that foul was on? It was on Ford. That's his 4th one. We thought that was Lacey reaching. It was Ford who came back. He has 4 fouls, and he's in trouble. Here's Lacey with Sikma on him. They're going to leave Phil in, it looks like. Look at that move by Lacey, would you? 14 points for the big guy. 64-52. Inside. John Johnson say inside. They want to move that ball inside if they possibly can, as they have Dennis Johnson move into the baseline, and he has the ball. Trying to take Otis Birdsong in, and he can't get it to go. Robinzine with yet another rebound. They had 25 rebounds each, both teams, so they were even at halftime. But interestingly enough, Kansas City had only 4 offensive rebounds. Inside, Birdsong. Birdsong with 22 points.
He's got 22, and again, he only has 3 fouls, but they have to keep him from getting his hands on the ball. He's having a great afternoon.
There's
great play there.
Let's go back to Otis Birdsong.
Well, this is just good team play right here. Lacey has the ball. He beats Dennis Johnson to the spot, and he takes it in unmolested.
Well, that last play, beautiful ball movement by Seattle, getting the easy baseline jumper. Here's Lacey off to Robinzine. He and Lacey have a little trouble over there. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Ford, John Johnson, and Wedman trying to keep it in play. Robinzine's got it. Broken up that time by Lonnie Shelton. Gus Williams, 3 on 2. Williams, Shelton, and all of a sudden now Seattle's climbed within a 66-55, or should say a 10-point game, 66-56.
The important thing about that break, Gary, was that they let Lonnie Shelton shoot the ball. He ran, he made it possible.
Tough hook by Robinzine. Sikma comes away with it, and now that'll be Seattle's ball. The Sonics have a chance to climb within 8 points.
Well, Seattle's the type of team that will keep clawing and scratching, and Kansas City has to control the tempo of the game. They continue to put balls in the air, which means that Sonics are going to get a chance to shoot the ball and get back in the basketball game.
John Johnson now trying to set up Dennis Johnson. Wide open. Rebound Lacey, and he went up for that one.
That's tough luck for Dennis Johnson. That ball was right on line and just came out. He's struggling, only shooting 28% the last few ball games.
Bill Ford from the side. That was something they didn't know, whether Ford was a good shooter, but he is a fine shooter. Gus Williams. Gus Williams answers at the other end. Gus Williams now has 20 points. Gus Williams had 16 of those in the first half. Bill Ford, what a move, but he can't get it to go. Shelton out to Gus Williams. Scott Wedman is back. And Gus Williams hits another one. He has 22 points, and all of a sudden it's an 8-point game. 68-60. Kansas City not out of this one by a long ways, leading by 12 at halftime. They've had 4 of those points whittled away.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
Hey, where's Bob? I thought he was with you.
No,
you're kidding.
He's not down yet.
Hey, what, do you think something happened? Let's start looking.
Hey! I'm on a Lowenbrow!
Bob!
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Hey, you know, for a minute there, you really had us worried. I know. Thanks.
Have a nice day at work, Terry.
Terry Vance rides this Suzuki GS 1000 to work because it's quick, nimble, and just plain fun. At work, he rides this GS 1000, world's fastest pro stock bike. And that's why Terry Vance is the world's fastest pro stock rider.
Suzuki, the performer ride.
3 unidentified 19-inch color TV pictures, each the best of its brand. Over 1,000 people saw them and picked the one with the best overall picture. They didn't pick America's biggest seller, Zenith, or the second biggest, RCA. Over 60% picked the 19-inch Sylvania Superset. Over 60%. We're not the biggest, but a lot of people think we've got the best picture. The Sylvania Superset.
Well, you can see Williams and Otis Birdsong having a real shootout right now, as Seattle now within 8 points of Kansas City, led by 12 at halftime. Gary Bender along with Steve Jones, glad to have you with us. As the 2 teams with the best records in the Western Conference having a real showdown here. Sam Lacey, Sikma out on him. Scott Wedman. Wedman broken up by Gus Williams. Scott Wedman's had a tough time getting open in this game.
Just hadn't got much time to shoot the ball. Birdsong does.
Well, you can't say that about him. He's got 24 points, hitting 6 of 8 in the first half. 70-60. Again, a 10-point lead for Kansas City. John Johnson backing in. Beautiful pass. Giving chases forward. Gus Williams. And that's going to be off of Kansas City. Cotton Fitzsimmons doesn't agree with that one.
Cotton's up. He's up real quick. He's got words to say. He had words to say before the timeout. They got a bad call that time. Sikma and Johnny Johnson both batted the ball away.
Cotton will have a few things to say. He is some enthusiastic guy, isn't he?
Whether you want him to or not, he'll have a few things to say.
He is in the game. Dennis Johnson. Johnson not getting the ball to drop. John tries to save it. That one's off. Johnson will be Kansas City's basketball.
Well, you know, they say if you play the game long enough, it all evens out. Phil Ford knocks the ball out, and Seattle doesn't get it, and they come up with it. Phil Ford is holding 2 fingers up. That's a funny play.
10-point lead now for the Kings. There's that cutter again. Birdsong's basket will count, and he's fouled. I tell you, they've just eaten him alive on that cutter inside.
Well, that's just good offensive execution. Dennis Johnson must have some help. He's getting around that pick. You'll see how clean he is right here. No one comes in. Birdsong carries it in, gets hands on him as he goes up, and a chance for another 3-point play.
You know, the interesting thing about this game is that Johnson, Shelton, Sikma, the other Johnson, Autry, and Hassett all have 3 fouls on them. Seattle has picked up a bunch of them in this game. That was the 3rd foul on Sikma. So they've gotten their lead back. They had a lead at 12. They've added 1 to it. They lead by 13. They being Kansas City. Lonnie Shelton taking Robinzine inside. Having trouble, and Shelton walked on the baseline.
Well, Lonnie Shelton got himself buried down there on the baseline and really had no place to pass the basketball. Robinzine doing a good job of handling, knocks the ball out. We can't see the feet go on the line, but he stepped on it, and Phil Ford comes hustling back.
Ford with 9 assists in this game. Birdsong's got the hot hand. Lacey. Birdsong takes it inside. Rejected by Shelton.
He should have shot it out there at the 15-foot mark. He took just one more dribble too many, and Lonnie Shelton sent it back the other way. You see he has a shot there. It's a little bit of indecision. Now he comes inside. He goes up strong. That's the case of a big man beating a small man.
Back to the live action. Lacey from outside. That basket will not count. Double dribble. But again, Lacey, he's amazing the way he uses the glass.
The big fella can take it off the glass, and again, normally if he's not having a good offensive night, he won't look for that shot, but he got off the mark. He had 12 in the first half, and he's been looking for it ever since then.
So it's still a 13-point lead now for Kansas City. Sikma off to Gus Williams. Williams with Ford on him, and a foul on Ford. The basket will count, and Phil Ford now has 5 fouls. Ford will have to sit down, as he now has 5 fouls and a chance for a 3-point play for Williams.
Well, this certainly could change the complexion of this basketball game. Gus Williams working down on the baseline. He's on fire, just like Otis Birdsong. You see Ford reaches in. Williams does a smart thing, just keeps it going to the hoop. Gets the basket, got a chance for 3. Phil Ford sits down. We'll see what happens with Mr. McKinney.
Billy the Kid, they call him. Billy McKinney comes in to replace him.
He better have some 6-shooters too.
Now Williams has sliced it back to 10. 3-point play. He has 25 points. What a game he's having. He also has 6 assists. McKinney with Williams on him. Up to Lacey. Sikma not letting him get inside. Tough shot. Rebound, Birdsong. He is amazing. Birdsong with 29 points. You know, his high is 39. He may get that before the day is over.
Well, he's collecting them awfully easy. Now watch here, unmolested again. Nobody touches him. Johnson lost contact with them right there. Sikma comes in, gets a little brush contact, not much of a foul, but enough to get him a 3-point play. And you can't give that guy that kind of offensive effort.
Both of them getting the 3-point plays at both ends. That was the 4th foul now on Sikma. 6.5 minutes to go, 3rd period. John Johnson, Shelton, broken up by Lacey. What a play by Sam Lacey. McKinney. Well, this crowd loves Sam Lacey. Big guy wheels it to Robinzine. This place is bedlam right now. Look at him. 18th time this year they've been over 10,000 here in Kemper Arena.
Well, Sam Lacey finally getting some respect. He hustled down at the other end and takes that block on Shelton, and he comes back, makes a good offensive move, and hits a cutting Robinzine, and they get the hoop. Sikma has to sit down. Paul Silas comes in. Robinzine has a chance to get 3 and increase their lead. But this is the type of game that's been back and forth, and Seattle certainly is capable of getting back in it, and they probably will. All they want to do now is stay within that 10-point range and make that final push in the 4th period.
That last foul on Dennis Johnson was his 4th. So both Sikma and Dennis Johnson have 4 each. 79-63. Johnson with Wedman on him. He doesn't shoot all that much. Robinzine comes away with a beautiful outlet pass, but he took too long on it. Dennis Johnson comes back. And Johnson inside, and he's fouled by Robinzine. That was the case where he waited too long to get that ball out, and Johnson doubled back and intercepted.
Well, he stopped back in there. He made that steal and came back up and again put good offensive pressure on them. Kansas City Kings, they want to take a timeout and try and rectify some of those foul problems. Lenny Wilkins is going to regroup his players.
Got a big load to haul? Get a tough Chevy van. The 125-inch wheelbase model handles plenty of cargo. It's also got a wider sliding side door opening and wider and higher rear doors than its 2 closest sales competitors. Now check these dimensions. Rear doors to engine, rear doors to seat, floor to roof. And look at that turning circle. Got a tough job? Get a tough Chevy van.
Chevy trucks, built to stay tough.
Every day you lose a little piece of yourself. More hair on the brush and less on you. These are Protein 29 conditioning hair grooms and sprays. They can't do anything about the hair you're losing, but Protein 29 can do something about the hair you still have. Protein 29 actually adds protein to individual hair shafts, helps make your hair look thicker, fuller, healthier, more like it used to look. The more hair you're losing, the more you need Protein 29. It takes care of the hair that's still there.
In business, the more efficiently you use your time, the more money you make.
Time is money.
So if you're spending hours dictating letters to far-off places, and hours are spent typing them,
I've got other work to do.
kick the letter habit. Pick up your phone and give them a ring. The phone turns your time into money.
Your imagination run wild. The outrageous comedy Billy.
Dad, take it easy, will you?
Then those 5 guys from Flatbush premiere, jumping to the beat of the street and having a ball. 2 new comedies premiering Monday, February 26th.
Dennis Johnson at the line. You can see he's well below his seasonal average. He just hasn't gotten the shots to drop for him.
The ball has not gone in for him. Plus, he was in foul trouble trying to cover the offensive-minded Otis Birdsong, who's been on fire. Dennis Johnson normally does not get that in foul trouble and have to sit down as much as he did today, but he's really struggling, and his offensive output is a sign of it.
That last foul on Robinzine, by the way, was his third. He's still in the lineup, along with Wedman, Birdsong, McKinney, and Lacey. Ford is on the bench with 5 fouls. Yeah, John Johnson's been doing a job on Wedman. He hasn't had the ball at all in this game.
He has done an excellent job of denying him. Scott Wedman is the type of player who needs a little pick, just like that one right there, to get the shot off. Robinzine makes an excellent rebound and throws up a prayer.
Throws up a prayer, huh? 79-64. Here's Johnson. Johnson's going to keep working, and he got it to go down that time. He has 8 points.
He decided to get in a little bit closer. All those bombs from the outside are coming in and out. He figured that 2-foot area there is pretty good for him.
Paul Silas shoved inside. Here's McKinney driving on Williams. Shot. He has 7 points. The left-hander floating to the right, and he still got it.
Well, he took a pretty good shot from Gus Williams that time. He doesn't get the call.
Would you see that pick that Silas set up on Birdsong? And now he's got a foul. Is that Robinzine?
That is Robinzine right there. He had Dennis Johnson pinned in the corner, ended up knocking Johnson out of bounds.
That's his for it.
They are in the penalty.
Darnell Hillman will check in. Robinzine will lead with a total of 4 fouls.
Hillman has 3 himself, so he could not be in long.
Foul situation becoming very important in this game as Dennis Johnson gets one to drop there. He's a good free throw shooter, shooting 78% for the year.
Well, one thing that all of these free throws do for Seattle, besides giving them a chance for cheap points, is it breaks the momentum of the Kansas City Kings, who had the lead.
There's Scott Wedman. Wedman in this game has only 4 points. There's Shelton. Lonnie Shelton up to Dennis Johnson. Johnson carried the ball. That's 11 turnovers in this game now against Seattle. So Birdsong and McKinney will bring it up the floor. This Kansas City club, since the All-Star break, is 8-2. They have played very, very well.
Well, they've had good offensive execution. They're averaging up 121 points a game. You can't do that without doing something right offensively.
Lonnie Shelton. Hillman trying to stop that. He can't. Wedman with the rebound. Broken up, Gus Williams, but Wedman's got it back. McKinney. Birdsong trying to crash the board. Look at Wedman hustle, would you? Birdsong comes away with it, but Scott Wedman, great effort on both ends of the floor.
He kept it alive, and Birdsong came up with it. McKinney cashes, or you almost cashes it, made a good move down the lane.
McKinney intimidated a little bit, missed that one. Gus Williams, the other end. Gus Williams continues to pour him in. 27 points for Williams. 81-69. Seattle clawing back in this game. This crowd, and this is a noisy place, isn't it?
Oh, they've been in it. You know, it's a good thing that Kansas City, you know, it's nice to see this kind of crowd in here because they haven't had much to cheer about in years past.
Reach in. Foul going to go on Shelton, his 4th.
Well, Lonnie Shelton makes a cardinal mistake here. Gets there, good position, and then he decides to reach. All he had to do was move his feet. He would have gotten that foul on Wedman. Instead, Kansas City handles the ball.
fourth team foul now against Seattle. Darnell, Hillman. Shelton trying to draw the foul. Lacey to Wedman. Nice move by Wedman. He's having to work for everything he gets.
That was a real good move by Wedman to pull up right then. He may have pushed off to get the shot away, and they come back and don't. And get back on defense, and Seattle scores quickly.
Johnny Johnson now with 5 points, 83-71.
They seem to be a little bit preoccupied with trying to get the call from the official that time.
There's Williams with the steal. Gus Williams, he is 7th in the NBA in steals. Dennis Johnson, the basket will count, and he's fouled, and all of a sudden, Seattle's climbed back in. 11 points for Dennis Johnson. Look at Lenny Wilkins. You think he was at a church social right now?
He's very calm, but you see they live right here. Williams tried to squeeze that ball in between Birdsong and Hillman. He just gets it off. Hillman comes in, picks up his 4th foul, and he's going to give Dennis Johnson a chance to shoot some free throws and increase his offensive output.
Outward bound, Rota, Spain. The Navy. See your local recruiter or call toll-free. It's not just a job, it's an adventure.
You're feeling good about yourself. The way you should about yourself.
You're feeling good about yourself, and it shows. You're drinking 1-calorie Diet Pepsi-Cola, the taste that's changing the taste of America.
And you're drinking Diet Pepsi. Yeah, you're drinking Diet Pepsi. And it shows. We love baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet.
You sure are getting behind Chevy's new midsize Malibu, America. And why not? It's got the right mileage estimates, the right size, the right feel, the right look, and the right room. And for a lot of folks, it's got the right name, too. Chevy Malibu. The 79 Chevy Malibu could be just right for you.
A fresh new slice of apple pie called Chevy Malibu.
Hi, I'm Vic Tayback. I play Mel on the Alice Show. Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, we got a show for you.
See gymnastics in Baton Rouge, Grand Prix racing in South Africa, the fight of the week, and more.
You'll say you saw it on CBS Sports.
One of the glitter girls here for the Kansas City Kings, and right now Kansas City, they're in a precarious situation. Look at San Diego, they're holding on to that lead over Boston. San Diego started the day at 500, but Kansas City's in a precarious situation. They have Ford with 5 fouls, Robinzine has 4, as does Birdsong, and now it's a 9-point game. That's for the game for Dennis Johnson is 12 points. High-point man is Williams with 27. Birdsong has 30 for Kansas City. Gary Bender with Steve Jones. Kemper Arena. Wedman. Hillman goes up, and he's been fouled. That'll be Paul Silas. That's one of the few times that Silas hasn't had position.
Well, he was inside, but Hillman that time just jumped over and was going for the ball. He got to it first, and Silas grabbed him. He doesn't like the call, but then Silas, like so many players, they never foul.
There is Johnson. Dennis Johnson, who has not had a good shooting day, but he's working, and the shots may start dropping for him.
Well, when you're struggling like he is, he's doing the right thing by trying to get in as close to the basket, build a little bit of confidence, and begin to shoot that ball and maybe find that shooting rhythm that will get it back. Gus Williams comes in, again, a tremendous athlete, and snares the rebound.
Well, he got up on that, didn't he, at 6'2"? It's a 10-point game again. 5 points of the game for Darnell Hillman. John Johnson, who's played excellent defense today on Scott Wedman. Now trying to do a little offense, and he's fouled. Is it on Wedman? Scott Wedman, look at John. He's got the hot hand from moving inside. They're going to call it on Wedman. That will be his second personal. Lacey was also in on that play, and Lacey stayed out of foul trouble today. He only has 1.
Sikma is on the bench, and that's probably their best offensive threat inside. He's not really put a lot of pressure on Sam Lacey. Lacey got off the mark and has been playing excellent basketball. And offensively, when you score a lot of points or get involved offensively, you seem to do the other things just a little bit better. And Lacey has not been frustrated in this game at all, and he stayed in it. Johnny Johnson misses 2 free throws.
Well, John, with the penalty in as Cotton looks on, and he's hoping that John Johnson's going to miss his 3rd in a row. John shoots 77% from the line, and he missed all 3 of them. And the crowd here loves it. A 10-point game, 84-74. 2:18 to go, 3rd period. Darnell Hillman. Nice pass to Birdsong. Birdsong really had people flailing away at him that time. Dennis Johnson brings it up the floor. Gus Williams, look at him, bunch up under that basket, would you?
Well, they bunch up under it. Gus Williams shot that one and just started falling back toward us. He knew that one, it was all the way. Seattle's within 8. Kansas City giving them a chance to put the ball up. They've tried to go back to Birdsong.
29 points now for Gus Williams. Sam Lacey, the big hook. Sam Lacey now with 16 points. He had 12 of those in the first half of play.
He's had a good offensive day and is shooting a fine percentage. He just hasn't gotten that many balls up, but he's got a lot of them down. Johnson's way out on the perimeter.
And he's not been shooting well. Wedman saves it. John Johnson can't handle it. Birdsong to McKinney. Wedman. And he's fouled by Silas. Silas got a leg up on him. Lucius Allen will check in to the Kansas City lineup. Birdsong will catch a breather.
The team split for the Kings. Lucius Allen replaces Otis Birdsong.
Scott Wedman will be going to the line. That foul on Silas was his 2nd. Also coming in is Robinzine, and Sam Lacey will check out, and this is Fred Brown, number 32. And going out will be Gus Williams, who has 29 points. Brown in this game only has 8 points. But again, he could change that in a hurry.
He put up 11 balls in that first half. Only 4 of them fell for them. But, you know, he came out with his mind on putting the ball up. And anytime he's got that kind of attitude, he's going to score a lot of points.
Scott Whitman now with 8 points. He's been slow in getting those, but he might put them in now. He's the guy who is so much stronger than a year ago. He hit the weights. He's gained 12 pounds. His stamina is much better. He's picking up John Johnson now.
Winning has helped Scott Wedman out a great deal.
There's Dennis Johnson, and he just can't get those shots to drop. Here comes McKinney. 3 on 2. Wedman, Dennis Johnson intimidated. Dr. Dunk is there.
Dennis Johnson was way up. There just weren't enough Seattle SuperSonics back to kill that break, and they come up with the basket on a fine follow by Hillman.
That was a good defensive play by Dennis Johnson. Dr. Dunk, Darnell Hillman put that one away for keep. Substitution. Dick Snyder will check in for the first time for Seattle. Dennis Johnson will leave, and Gus Gerard is getting ready. He'll come in for Kansas City. There's Gerard. Robinzine will leave. 36 seconds left in this 3rd period. 90-76. Kansas City with the lead. Lonnie Shelton. Guy can shoot for a big man out there.
Lonnie has an excellent touch. He has to have pressure on him out there, and that time he got Hillman off balance, and he got it down. He brings him back within 12 with 22 seconds left.
6 points for Shelton. He comes in averaging just over 13 a game, and now they're going for the last shot of this 3rd period. Kenny killing a time. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Brown wheels in with 3 seconds. Wedman tips. Hillman. And they don't get it. Well, they did everything but get the ball to go through the hoop.
They did. Anytime you can get 2 and 3 shots at the basket, you got an excellent chance at it, Gary. And certainly the Sonics are going to have to do something to stay in this final period.
Welcome to our people-pleasing places.
Mr. Carlin, your briefcase.
Meet our people-pleasing faces.
Holiday Inn hotels are #1 in the world with the best standards.
Everything all right, sir?
Everything's just fine. People-pleasing standards to help make your trip successful.
Wherever you go in this whole big traveling world,
We want to make you comfortable.
Holiday Inn is #1 in people-pleasing.
The NBA on CBS will continue after this word from your local station. Join us tomorrow for the hilarious series premiere of Billy. He's a young man with the most incredible fantasy life ever. See Billy tomorrow at 8, 7 Central and Mountain on CBS.
Well, Cotton Fitzsimmons doing a little X and O's there, trying to get some strategy set for this fourth period.
Well, certainly everything he's done it's worked well for him. They got him X's and O's down and deep, and they try to work to Birdsong, Lucius Allen, the off guard by stacking out high.
A 12-point lead for the Kings. They led by 12 at halftime. Darnell Hillman, nice move. Where are they going to get that to? Hillman, he had some help on that play. That's 9 points for Hillman.
It looked like the Sonics tapped that
ball. That's what I thought. It looked to me like they did, but Hillman with a good move offensively. Here's Dick Snyder. He can shoot well from outside. A veteran. Used to play with Lenny Wilkins. There's Snyder. And Dick Snyder, 13-year veteran from Davidson. He's the NBA's 17th all-time scorer, and he shot 49% in his career from the field. There's your stats in the third period. Allen can't get it to go, and a foul. Gus Gerard.
That's an automatic call, but Allen puts the ball up from the perimeter right here, and it looks like Gus Gerard gets in clean as he tries to make this tip right here. He's the only one there. He goes up, and he's sandwiched. Actually, probably should have gotten a break.
So now the Sonics with a chance to cut this game to 10. Shelton trying to do it, taken away by Hillman. Hillman, a very smart defensive play.
Well, Darnell kept himself under control and not really gotten himself into foul trouble. Fred Brown comes back and doesn't make a good foul out high on McKinney, and they take the ball out on the side.
That's the first on Fred Brown.
Well, you see right here, Hillman plays the position. Now, Lonnie Shelton will show the ball just a little bit too early, and Hillman reaches in and makes a clean steal.
There's Hillman backing in, and Fred Brown reaches in. Gerard can't handle it. Seattle's basketball. So again, they have a chance now to climb within 10 points in this game.
There's plenty of time left, Gary, 10 minutes, and all they really want to do is get one basket at a time. We saw this afternoon when Philadelphia took that 15-point lead from Denver that you can come back, and you can come back in a hurry.
Johnson now with 7 points, and it is a 10-point game. 10.5 minutes to go. McKinney broken up by Silas. Gus Gerard. There's a steal by Brown. What a play by Brown, and he saves it off of Hillman, and then it hit Brown again. Boy, things just don't work sometimes.
Well, you know, he did everything he could to save that play. He bounced it off Hillman, but it bounced right back to him, and he was still out of bounds. He was actually in the air, and it hit off his foot. Seattle doesn't get the break, and McKinney handles the ball again.
Boy, that could have been a big break because they could have climbed within 8 if they'd converted that one. Nice shot by Scott Wedman, and Wedman now with 10 points. He had only 4 at half, but he's starting out to figure offensively. Back to a 12-point lead for Kansas City. That's been the magic number in this game. Lonnie Shelton. Lucius Allen off to Wedman. Allen, rebound, Silas, here they come, 3-on-1. The only man back is McKinney. Brown, John Johnson, and a foul. And I don't believe Lucius Allen agrees with that call.
Well, Lucius Allen is saying, what about the foul at the other end? I get knocked around, then I come back and make a little reach inside, and you whistle me. Well, Lucius, you haven't played all year.
Well, Lucius Allen hasn't played much this year. It's his 12th game. He was activated 3 weeks ago. And there's Jack Sikma coming in. Lonnie Shelton leaves. Sikma checks in. He'll be playing with 4 personal fouls.
think Lenny is going to try to put some more offensive pressure in the middle on Darnell Hillman, who was in a little bit of foul trouble, and he seemed to be dominating Lonnie Shelton just a little bit inside.
Well, John Johnson missed 3 in a row, but he got his last one, and now he has hit 2 in a row. And it's a 10-point game. 9 points for John Johnson. 9.5 minutes to go. The Kings trying to win their 15th straight at home. Lucius Allen. Boy, look at that.
Well, that's a real tough shot right there. Allen makes a fine spin to wheel back inside, and then he had a funny angle, and he got it off the glass.
I think he was upset, don't you? He went down to prove something on that play. 96-84.
Wants a little respect back.
Yes, sir. There is Allen again. 2 big baskets. Let's go back to the previous play by Allen.
Well, you see Allen right here. We're kind of blocked out, but watch this move as he comes back inside. Sikma is there. He gets at the body and keeps himself under control and gets it down.
2 good, big key baskets by Lucius Allen. A foul inside. Gerard picks it up. Dennis Johnson is going to come in. Dick Snyder will leave for Seattle.
The Kansas City Kings have been able to fight off every challenge that the Sonics have thrown at them, and Wilkins has gone in and out of that lineup trying to find the right combination that could consistently keep some kind of offensive pressure on Kansas City.
They again have the 12-point lead. John Johnson works the pick. Gerard can't handle it. Lucius Allen can't either. It'll be Seattle's basketball. Great effort by Lucius Allen.
Again, that's what winning will do. You know, a year ago they wouldn't go on the floor for those balls. Now they go for everything. They don't think the ball's out of bounds until it's about 12 rows up.
I think Phil Ford's had a lot to do with that. He's done that by leadership, and this team now has picked up that style of play. Dennis Johnson. Johnson got one to go. He hasn't had a lot of success in his shooting today. He has 14 points. 98-86. McKinney. And Brown commits a foul. Fred Brown having a tough time staying with a 6-foot guard. Brown with his second personal. Sam Lacey's going to check in. Bill Robinzine will come in. Hillman and Gerard will leave. I'll tell you, both those guys doing a good job coming off the bench for Cotton Fitzsimmons.
Well, the difference in this game has been the contribution of the benches, and certainly Kansas City has gotten every player on their bench to do something to stay in their basketball game.
Here's one of them right here, Lucius Allen. And we've got a foul. Loose foul coming up on Robinzine, and he is outraged. That's 5 on him. He can't believe it.
Well, he has sort of a reputation, and anytime there's any contact being made, he seems to be whistled for the foul. He can't believe it. He just got back in the ball game, and he's going to have to sit down again. Cotton Fitzsimmons, he doesn't believe it.
Let's go back and look at the foul.
Well, Allen takes that ball up from the outside, and it'll come off deep. Robinzine is going for the ball with just a little bit of contact. 2 players going for the ball right there.
He comes out. Darnell Hillman comes in. Fred Brown. That's a guy they wanted shooting the ball. Hillman comes away with it. McKinney. Boy, he ran into a lot of people that time. Both Sikma and Johnson decked him. It's going to be Johnson with a foul, his 4th.
He does well as penetrate. He gets inside and creates something right there. Johnny Johnson just backs into him. They say he hipped him and knocked him down. So
he was standing still on that play.
They say he was outside and they're not going to let him shoot, but he certainly looked to me like he was trying to get to that basket.
Inside, 8 minutes to go in this game. Hillman, a little offensive move. Boy, he was really double teamed on that one. He collapsed on him in a hurry. He's getting a little physical now. Hillman picks up Dennis Johnson. We've got a mismatch somewhere. Here's Silas.
They have it, but they don't recognize it. A little late, they get it into Sikma, and he finally does wheel around and score, but Lacey had finally gotten over.
10 points now for Sikma. Sikma coming in here with a 15.5-point average. Billy McKinney. Somebody didn't pick him up out there. He was home free. Fred Brown having a tough time staying with him.
Well, Brown got picked off that time by Lacey. They got in a little shoving match.
There's Sikma again. He answers again. He has 12 points. 190 and still a 10-point game. Look at that. San Diego has just put it on Boston today. 131 to 116. I wonder how many Lloyd Free had.
He probably checked to see what George Gervin did and then went to work.
That's a foul on John Johnson. That would be his 5th personal. And timeout is called by Kansas City with 6:56 to go in this game. So it's still a 10-point lead by Kansas City, but Seattle, they aren't giving up yet.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special. The beer will
Hello, Brown. What's all this?
Compliments of the gentleman at the bar, sir.
So tonight.
That is.
Point lead from Denver that you can come back and you can come back and deliver.
Johnson now with 7 points, and it is a 10-point game. 10.5 minutes to go. McKinney broken up by Silas. That's Gerard. There's a steal by Brown. What a play by Brown, and he saves it off of Hillman, and then it hit Brown again. Boy, things just don't work sometimes.
Well, you know, he did everything he could to save that play. He bounced it off Hillman, but it bounced right back to him, and he was still out of bounds. He was actually in the air, and it hit off his foot. Seattle doesn't get the break, and McKinney handles the ball again.
Boy, that could have been a big break because they could have climbed within 8 if they'd converted that one. Nice shot by Scott Wedman, and Wedman now with 10 points. He had only 4.5, but he's starting out his figure offensively. Back to a 12-point lead for Kansas City. That's been the magic number in this game. Lonnie Shelton. Lucius Allen off to Wedman. Allen, rebound, Silas, here they come, 3-on-1. The only man back is McKinney. Brown, John Johnson, and a foul. And I don't believe Lucius Allen agrees with that call.
Lucius Allen is saying, what about the foul at the other end? I get knocked around, then I come back and make a little reach inside, and you whistle me. Well, Lucius, you haven't played all year.
Well, Lucius Allen hasn't played much this year. It's his 12th game. He was activated 3 weeks ago. And there's Sikma coming in. Lonnie Shelton leaves. Sikma checks in. He'll be playing with 4 personal fouls.
I think Lenny is going to try to put some more offensive pressure in the middle on Darnell Hillman, who was in a little bit of foul trouble, and he seemed to be dominating Lonnie Shelton just a little bit inside.
Well, John Johnson missed 3 in a row, but he got his last one, and now he has hit 2 in a row. And it's a 10-point game. 9 points for John Johnson. 9.5 minutes to go. The Kings trying to win their 15th straight at home. Lucius Allen. Boy, look at that.
That's a real tough shot right there. Allen makes a fine spin. He wheeled back inside, and then he had a funny angle, and he got it off the glass.
I think he was upset, don't you? He went down to prove something on that one. 96-84.
Wants a little respect back.
Yes, sir. There's Allen again. 2 big baskets. Let's go back to the previous play by Allen.
Well, you see Allen right here. We're kind of blocked out, but watch this move as he comes back inside. Sikma is there. He gets at the body and keeps himself under control and gets it down.
2 good, big key baskets by Lucius Allen. A foul inside. Gerard picks it up. Dennis Johnson is going to come in. Dick Snyder will leave for Seattle.
The Kansas City Kings have been able to fight off every challenge that the Sonics have thrown at them, and Wilkins has gone in and out of that lineup trying to find the right combination that could consistently keep some kind of offensive pressure on Kansas City.
They again have the 12-point lead. John Johnson works the pick. Gerard can't handle it. Lucius Allen can't either. It'll be Seattle basketball. Great effort by Lucius Allen.
Again, that's what winning will do. You know, a year ago they wouldn't go on the floor for those balls. Now they go for everything. They don't think the ball's out of bounds until it's about 12 rows up.
I think Phil Ford's had a lot to do with that. He's done that by leadership, and this team now has picked up that style of play. Dennis Johnson. Johnson got one to go. He hasn't had a lot of success in his shooting today. He has 14 points. 98, 86. McKinney. And Brown commits a foul. Fred Brown having a tough time staying with a 6-foot guard. Brown with his second personal. Sam Lacey's going to check in. Bill Robinzine will come in. Hillman and Gerard will leave. Tell you, both those guys doing a good job coming off the bench for Cotton Fitzsimmons.
Well, the difference in this game has been the contribution of the benches, and certainly Kansas City has gotten every player on their bench to do something to stay in their basketball game.
Here's one of them right here, Lucius Allen. And we've got a foul, loose ball foul coming up on Robinzine, and he is outraged. That's 5 on him. He can't believe it.
Well, he has sort of a reputation, and anytime there's any contact being made, he seems to be whistled for the foul. He can't believe it. He just got back in the ball game, and he's going to have to sit down again. Cotton Fitzsimmons, he doesn't believe it.
Let's go back and look at the foul.
Well, Allen takes that ball up from the outside, and it'll come off deep. Robinzine is going for the ball with just a little bit of contact. Two players are going for the ball right there.
He comes out. Darnell Hillman comes in. Fred Brown. That's a guy they wanted shooting the ball. Hillman comes away with it. McKinney. Boy, he ran into a lot of people that time. Both Sikma and Johnson decked him. It's going to be Johnson with a foul, his fourth.
Well, you see, McKinney, one thing he does well is penetrate. He gets inside and creates something right there. Johnny Johnson just backs into him. They say he hipped him and knocked him down. So
he was standing still on that play.
They say he was outside and they're not going to let him shoot, but he certainly looked to me like he was trying to get to that basket.
Inside, 8 minutes to go in this game. Hillman, a little offensive move. Boy, he was really double teamed on that one. It collapsed on him in a hurry. It's getting a little physical now. Hillman picks up Dennis Johnson. We've got a mismatch somewhere. Here's Silas.
They have it, but they don't recognize it. A little late, they get it into Sikma, and he finally does wheel around and score, but Lacey had finally gotten over.
10 points now for Sikma. Sikma coming in here with a 15.5-point average. Billy McKinney. Somebody didn't pick him up out there. He was home free. Fred Brown having a tough time staying with him.
Well, Brown got picked off that time by Lacey. They got in a little shoving match.
There's Sikma again. He answers again. He has 12 points. 190 is still a 10-point game. Look at that. San Diego has just put it on Boston today. 131 to 160. I wonder how many Lloyd Free had.
He probably checked to see what George Gervin did and then went to work.
That's a foul on John Johnson. That would be his fifth personal. And timeout is called by Kansas City with 6:56 to go in this game. So it's still a 10-point lead by Kansas City, but Seattle, they aren't giving up yet.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special. The beer will
Brown. What's all this?
Compliments of the gentleman at the bar, sir.
So tonight.
That is no gentleman. That's Tom Grant. Tom, I don't believe it. What's it been, 5 years?
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Low and Brow.
Somebody's got to say it, you two. Here's to good friends.
All right.
Chevrolet invites you to think of yourself in a new Monte Carlo. Think of yourself surrounded by crisp, sculptured lines. Think of yourself enjoying the very real pleasures of owning a Monte Carlo. Think of yourself surrounded with personal luxury, quiet comfort, and a surprising amount of room. And when you've thought about it, come drive one and put a little distance between yourself and the crowd.
If I were shopping around for life insurance myself, and if I knew what I know as a life insurance agent for State Farm, I'd buy it from State Farm. And I really mean that, because I know what we as agents feel our job is toward our clients, and I know how our company feels about it.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Tuesday, basic training takes on a whole new look when the U.S. Military Academy is invaded by Women at West Point. The CBS Tuesday night movie at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
All right, a 10-point game. Just inside 7 minutes to go in this fourth period. The Kings with the basketball. They're going to have McKinney, Birdsong, Lacey, Scott Wedman, and Darnell Hillman in the lineup. Broken up by Fred Brown. Now a chance to cut it to 8, Seattle. Dennis Johnson. The Sikma, who's had the last 2 baskets, and he's got a foul. Lacey picking it up, and Sikma will go to the line.
Well, John Sikma offensively coming alive. He beat Sam Lacey down the court and beats him to the spot right here. He gets down and deep, makes a pretty good pump fake. Lacey comes up and gets him across the arm. The Sonics are now in the penalty. The first you can get there. Of course, that next foul will also put Kansas City in the penalty, and the game could again be decided on the free throw line. The difference so far has been at the free throw line.
This is the fourth of a 5-game road trip for the Seattle SuperSonics. Sikma fouled by Lacey, his second foul. And Sikma now has started to take some of this offensive load. He has 13 points. He had only 6 at halftime. 191, and he cuts it to 8. Lots of time in this one. 6:44 left. McKinney's seeing a lot of action. Phil Ford on the bench with 5 fouls, as is Robinzine, who has 5. Broken up again by Brown. That's twice he's done that. Brown down. And Birdsong batted it away. It'll be Seattle's ball. At the other end of the floor, Scott Wedman hit the deck. And I think somebody thought maybe they should have had a break in the action, but it's going to be Kansas City's ball.
John Bannock is giving the ball back.
I guess he figures Brown lost it himself.
Well, Brown showed it to him, brought it back, and kind of lost control and lost it. He probably really should have given that ball up to Dennis Johnson on the other side.
Phil Ford now getting ready to come in to the Kansas City lineup. Lacey with a big hook.
Oh, beautiful. That's a real tough shot there.
He's made a couple of moves from that hook position. He comes around and you can't block it. It's tough to block. There's Sikma now. See if he can do the same thing. He likes to turn around and face it. Lacey comes away with it. And Lacey walks with it. There's a case where he should have given the ball up.
Sam wanted to do it all. He makes a big hook inside. He's really pumped up. And as I said before, when you get a few baskets, you want to do everything. He brought it down. He had a little man McKinney right there. He told him get away, and he ends up turning it over.
All right, we have 5:45 remaining in this game. Brown, Johnson, Johnny Johnson, Jack Sikma, and Paul Silas in the lineup now for Lenny Wilkenstein. Here's Sikma. Johnson behind the screen. Just can't get him to go today. Wedman brings it out to Phil Ford, who just checked in. Ford playing with 5 personals. He hasn't seen a lot of action in this game. He has 8 points. Boy, he just keeps moving the ball. Wide open. Rebound, Silas. Out to Johnny Johnson. But you saw how Ford set that up beautifully.
He made an excellent penetrating move. Doesn't get it. Dennis Johnson comes back. He can't get it. He seemed to be empty down at this end. Can't see the outbreak.
They're not going to hold it up, of course, until the shot at the other end. And Birdsong hits. Birdsong with 32 points. We're going to have a 20-second injury timeout now as Dennis Johnson very, very slow in getting up the other end of the floor after he and Phil Ford collided. Johnson walking it off. Lenny Wilkins very concerned as he looks on. So everything kind of coming to a grinding halt here for a moment.
Well, the interesting thing is the Sonics have made this push. Lonnie has had Gus Williams on the bench, who has been just as hot as Otis Birdsong, and he's now trying to get back in the ball game. They need him because Dennis Johnson certainly has broken down offensively, just hasn't been able to get it going, and defensively I think it's affected him a little bit, and Birdsong is having a field day.
Lenny's seeing it. He's all right. He's going to leave him in. Johnson and Fred Brown, Silas, Sikma, and Johnny Johnson. 4:55 left in the game. 104-92. Kansas City. Now Johnson, tough shot, and he shot it with Wedman right in his face. 11 points now for Johnson. Back again to a 10-point game. Boy, they're rubbing Brown off a couple of times. He ran into 2 picks on that one. Here's Wedman. Tough shot. He got it. Both teams now shooting that ball with people right on them.
Well, that's a sign of really good offensive players when they can take it and put it right in someone's face like that, and Wedman and Johnson both did it.
Wedman now with 12 points, coming on strong now in the second half of play. Sikma, he's fouled. Reaching in is Wedman. Scott Wedman picking up the foul. That will be his 3rd.
Scott Wedman doesn't believe it, but we'll get another look as he comes across. Now, he reaches right in there. Sikma had pretty good position going across. It might have been a very tough shot. He was trying to roll a hook from there, and I don't know how good a sky hook he has.
That's Gus Williams coming back in. What a game he's having. 29 points. Lenny talking to downtown Freddie Brown. Brown in this game has had 8 points and hasn't scored in the second half.
has not been a real good offensive game for Fred Brown. He's taken some tough tries and none of them gone down. What is a tough shot for Fred Brown is an impossible shot for someone else.
There's Sikma. He's right at his average as it's 106-96. They still hang on with 4:11 left. Gus Williams in now. Phil Ford. Sam Lacey. What a game he's had. Ford always sees the whole floor. He sees the open man, and that's going to be off of Seattle.
Now that time was a case of overpassing. He had the shot. Hillman had sealed the lane off for him. He tried to take it to the glass and decided at the last minute to give it to Hillman, and they get the ball inbounds.
7 seconds on the shot clock. Birdsong, Wedman, and a foul. Reaching over is Dennis Johnson. There again is Wedman moving well off the ball to get open.
Well, again, we talk about Phil Ford and the effect that he's had on this team. Birdsong had a shot and passed it up. He spotted Wedman underneath. A year ago, probably would have taken the shot.
Wedman at the line, 12 points. Scott Wedman, averaging 18.5. One of the deadliest marksmen you'll see on the baseline area, but he has had a tough time getting open in this game.
Johnny Johnson has done an excellent job on him, but Wedman is still beginning to creep into the double figures offensively. He's keeping working, and that's one thing. He's getting his minutes out on the court, and he's going to score his points.
That's that weight program he went in. I think it's stamina-wise really helps him. He's come on strong as this game wears on. 106-96. Check that, 108-96. John Johnson now makes it a 10-point game again. Johnson started to take over on the outside shooting.
Seattle seems to have just made one pass and gone into a one-on-one situation, and if they don't make the one shot, it gives Kansas City a chance to come back and score.
Otis Birdsong with 34 points. This Birdsong, he's on some offensive splurge now, isn't he? 31 points Friday night.
He had 31 then. He's gotten into the 30s, and once you get it going, just like Dennis Johnson can find it, you just seem to have that stroke, and he's really scoring today.
Steal by Gus Williams, and he's fouled, I believe, by Wedman. There's his wife, Kim, and I don't believe she agrees with that either.
He says he got knocked to the floor. Come on, ref, they'll both be out there in a minute. But Gus Williams made an excellent steal from Phil Ford. He just came back and picked him clean, made a real good move to turn around. Wedman thought he would surprise him, and there's your surprise.
Guilty. Not guilty. 6 votes guilty, 6 votes not guilty.
Not again.
This could go on all day. Bailiff! Pass out the right guard deodorant.
Good.
We got stick or spray.
With Right Guard, stick or spray protects all day. They don't just cover up odor, they help stop odor before it starts. All day.
6 took stick, 6 took spray. It's unanimous.
Right Guard deodorant. Don't get dressed without it.
You're out!
Sorry, kid. Gotta take you out of cleanup.
Over 6 million shavers have said goodbye to their old razors and said hello to Atra, Gillette's best shave. Micro-smooth twin blades and Atra face-hugging action combine to outshave every razor we've ever made.
Close. Very close.
Atra, Gillette's best shave.
Atra, you're in a league by yourself.
By noon, you bring down enough timber to put up a small town. You got one tool, a chainsaw, and it's your bread and butter. On the bar, it says Homelight, but out here, it's the Chainsaw King. And right now, you can buy the King, the Homelight XL, at a king-size savings. Or pick one of 5 other Homelights and get this $15.99 woodcutter's kit free from Homelight, the Chainsaw King. Check the yellow pages under saws for your Homelight dealer.
Hi, I'm Vic Tayback. I play Mel on the Alice Show. Next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, we got a show for you.
See gymnastics in Baton Rouge, Grand Prix racing in South Africa, the fight of the week, and more.
You'll say you saw it on CBS Sports.
Gus Williams will go to the line. His team trailing 110-98. Mr. Jones, who are you going to vote for the Chevrolet MVP?
Well, we got a couple of guys that have been out there on fire. Maybe I'll just wait another minute before I tell you.
Well, this guy's got to be a candidate. Gus Williams, he now has 30 points. But I'm kind of leading towards the Big O, Otis Birdsong of Kansas City.
Oh, he's definitely in consideration. He's been all the offense in Kansas City has needed under.
Joe Axelson, the general manager there in the blue coat, and he looks like he's relaxed a little bit by now.
Winning has helped that out a great deal. They're real happy.
110 to 100, 10-point lead. Birdsong, by the way, with 34 points, 2 assists in this game. His high for the year is 39. There he goes. He just missed getting 35 and 36, and he is called for charging. That's his 5th foul.
Well, that's his 5th foul, but that's kind of an incredible call. It looked like he was in clean and didn't make any contact. The owner and Joe Axelson, they can't believe it.
Paul Rosenberg, very two congenial men. We sat with him Friday night and got another view of this game, and it's a serious business, isn't it?
Sure it is. A great block by Sam Lacey.
Lacey up to Wedman. Phil Ford and Ford. Ford now with 10 points. 112 to 100 as we approach the 2-minute mark. John Johnson using a pick back to Sikma, and he's fouled. Look at Darnell Hillman reaching in.
Well, Sam Lacey has to be given some consideration for that MVP also.
We're going to give it to Wedman instead. Both of them collapsed on him, and Wedman now with 5. Well, you can see the effort he's been putting out. Lenny Wilkins, well, his team 14 and 14 on the road. That's second best in the NBA, but tough road trip. His team, they can't afford to lose in that Pacific Division. Cotton Fitzsimmons, boy, his team is doing everything right now.
Well, they're right there. I mean, they have played with such confidence. They got off the mark very well, and they have played and won a lot of close ball games, and that has made them think that they're going to win every time out.
Boy, they've been in first place since November 15th. They've won 9 of their last 11, 11 of their last 14. They are moving. They're going to go on the road, though. They got a tough road trip coming up. Here's Lacey. Wedman, good effort. Silas comes away with it. Inside 2 minutes, a minute 45 to go. 112, 102. Crowd here of 14,059 on hand. And nobody's been leaving. Wide open Dennis Johnson, but that's been the story all afternoon for him. He just can't get those shots to drop.
Well, they had a switch on that. He really wanted to pass the ball inside, but they fell off him, and he had to take the shot.
Ford with Williams on in. Gus Williams having an outstanding afternoon. Boy, look at that Ford handle the ball. Need something? Minute 14, 4 seconds on the shot clock. Lacey and John Johnson will bring it up the floor. Kings getting back on defense very well. John Johnson will try it again, or he's going to try it. Lacey reaching in. Darnell Hillman has it. Hillman hands it off like a quarterback.
Well, that just about seals it for them. They needed to hoop the last 2 times down. They didn't get them. Johnson made a pretty good move inside and couldn't get the handle on it as he got the rebound back. Kansas City seemed to have things under control. Cotton Fitzsimmons just wants to make sure.
So Cotton Fitzsimmons, who right now has got to be one of the, if not the leading candidate for Coach of the Year. And Phil Ford, who looks like he might be a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year. There's a lot of reasons why this basketball team is winning. Well, I'll tell you, I think you and I have agreed that Otis Birdsong is the MVP, right?
Otis Birdsong had a tremendous afternoon. Offensively, he's the guy that steadied him, kept him there all afternoon. When he needed the basket, he got it.
So the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player Award goes to Otis Birdsong. 34 points, 2 assists. He got him rolling in a hurry. In that first half of play, he had 20 points. So the Chevrolet $1,000 scholarship will be awarded to the University of Houston on behalf of the Big O, Otis Birdsong.
The Big O finally made a comeback, huh?
We didn't need any help from our producer, Tom O'Neill, and our director, John McDonough, for a job well done here today, but we didn't need the vote from Tom. We were able to decide it ourselves. But I tell you, one guy that you have to mention for Seattle, Gus Williams. Williams with 31 points himself.
He had a fine afternoon. He was really tough all afternoon. I don't know. Lenny set him down for a long time, and when they really needed him, seemed not to get back in the game and get the offensive hoop from him.
Well, Kansas City, who came in here at the start of the day, 6.5 up on Denver, can take a 7-game lead because Denver losing today to the Philadelphia 76ers.
Denver, every time they've had a chance to stay close or gain some ground on Kansas City, just has not been able to pick it up, and Kansas City again has won a lot of close ball games where other teams have not. That's why they look like they will win their 40th game this afternoon.
There's our MVP, Otis Birdsong. Thanks to our statistician, excellent job, Mike Sanders. As we have 53 seconds left in this one. Phil Ford, who has 10 points. Gus Williams giving chase to him. Scott Wedman, they're going to eat some time up now with 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Ford from outside. Oh, they love him here.
Well, they want him to be MVP for the league.
Well, he's one of the candidates along with a guy by the name of Moses Malone, not to forget him. What a job he's doing. He got beat today, but he scored 33 points in that Houston-San Antonio game. 114 to 104, 25 seconds. Sam Lacey going to kill a little time now.
Well, this is the worst part of the game for the team that's behind. You got to chase all over and try and get it. Phil Ford leaves us with that penetrating move right there. He can't believe it.
He's fouled out.
You have to chase the other team, and they can just hold the ball. You're down by 10 points. I don't know any way to score 10 points in 17 seconds.
Well, he had 9 assists the last we had, and that was way back in the first half. So he had 22 assists on a Wednesday, came in here at 21 assists on a Friday night. The 22 assists he had earlier was the 7th best ever in the history of the NBA. And a guy by the name of Oscar Robertson, he tied a club record that he set. This team used to, of course, be in Cincinnati when Oscar was playing there. Don Johnson backing in on Wedman. Johnson gets 2, and there's your time remaining. Kansas City to win 15 in a row at home. They now have captured 10 of their last 12 games. 14, the 106 win, an impressive win. Otis Birdsong leading the way, but he got some outstanding help in this game. Ford ended with 12, Lacey with 18, Wedman with 14. As far as the Sonics were concerned, it was Gus Williams with 33, Sikma had 18, and Lonnie Shelton with a total of 15 points. Thanks again, producer Tom O'Neill, our director John McDonough, our associate producer Gail Bledsoe. This is Gary Bender for Steve Jones saying goodbye from Kemper Arena in Kansas City. Next week on the new CBS Sports Spectacular, it's highlights of the Mardi Gras Gymnastics Invitational featuring Kurt Thomas from Baton Rouge, and also action from the Detroit Open, a top event on the Women's Bowling Tour. Then it's action from the South African Grand Prix, and finally the Fight of the Week. That next Saturday on the new CBS Sports Spectacular. The NBA on CBS is a presentation of CBS Sports.
This is CBS.